All right, it's recording. All right, guys, what's up? This is Inside the North Side, coming to you from the North Side. I'm your host, Ulises, and I'm finally excited for this episode. I have a special guest here. His name is Jose Ramos. No relation. I don't think so. But yeah, it's finally nice to meet you, Jose. Welcome to Inside the North Side.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on, man. Nice to meet you too.
So, first before we start, congratulations on passing your test.
Oh yeah, man. Thanks. It was I was supposed to take it last month, and then it got postponed, and I took it now, and then I passed it. Like I only studied for like 2 days, a couple of minutes at a time,
Oh, okay.
and
So,
I just passed it.
tell your guest what were you studying for, actually.
It was for pest control. I'm an exterminator, so I had like branch one, which is like the entry level.
Okay.
And then in order to like identify pests and like recommend certain treatments and sell products to people or treatments, you need the branch two. It also helps you become a manager, because
Oh, okay.
eventually I don't want to keep working with the chemicals, because eventually it leads to like cancer or other diseases. So what I want to do eventually is stop doing that and just be a manager.
All right. Okay. Cool. Cool. So, how long have you been doing that?
About 4.5 years.
Oh, okay. Okay. What were you doing previously before that?
Before that, I was at a dealership selling parts for like 10 years. So I've
Oh,
always been
yeah.
in the automotive industry, and then I was there for 10 years and wasted 10 years of my life there. And yeah, I really did, man. And then this is cool. I get paid twice as much money as what I did
Wow.
at the dealership. Exactly twice as much money. Yeah.
Man, that's nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, yeah. And it's fun, man.
Yeah. So, how's your week been? How's your week been?
It went by fast, man, but it's been cool. Like, on the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, cool, I got the podcast this weekend, It's always fun to do that. And prior to this, my wife's been helping me like do podcasts because just to knock out a couple at a time and have them ready. So this week I could study. So last Friday, I did one with my buddy. He's my neighbor. He's been my friend since like 1985.
Oh,
I've
wow.
known him for years, excuse me. And so I had him on and we interviewed him. It was pretty cool, man. He opened up about how he feels and stuff. He like really went. He just like he just took down the barrier and just was talking and stuff and let me know how he felt. And I've always been into music, so he let me know how like my I inspired him to, because he grew up with his we grew up around like gangs and stuff, right? His brothers were into gangs and stuff, and I was the only kid on that in that neighborhood area that was into like the Cure and like new wave and shit like that. And he saw that, he's like, fuck, you could still be a Chicano and be into other things and still be cool. And he,
Mm-hmm.
he tells me, hey, thank you for inspiring me and for getting me into that music and stuff. There's other
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool. That it's usually funny when people are on podcast, they tend to open up, and it's weird. They won't open up in any other conversation, but when you have a microphone in front of them, they'll open up like a can of sausages or something.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. And I told him, I said, look, at first you're gonna be shy about it, and then afterwards, once once you just keep talking, it's gonna be like we're just talking. You're gonna forget the microphones there, and that's what happens, man. He just kept talking and talking, and he just kept opening up. And I said, look, tomorrow you're gonna feel good, man, because you let a lot of stuff out.
Yeah, yeah. I do the same thing sometimes when I do my episode. I'll let some stuff out. I'm like, yeah, I feel better because I said it. I mean, everybody knows it now, but it's kind of like it's out there and people know what I'm going through. So it's like other people can relate to that too. It's like, oh, I'm going through that as well. So you're not the only one.
Yeah, and that's the main thing you said right now. Like they relate to it, and they're like, "Fuck, there's somebody else that feels the same way or has gone through the same stuff." And that's what I get a lot. It's like your podcast is really relatable and stuff. Mainly my demographic is people from like 35 to like 45, but I do get some people like in their 20s. A couple
Hmm.
people that listen to it. Some people that are 65, but mainly it's 35 to 45 that like it. But you seem to be pretty young. You seem to be like in your 20s.
Yeah, I'm be 28 this year actually.
Yeah, yeah. But it's crazy because usually people your age won't really identify with my type of podcast, because my podcast is like just the my mentality and the way I see the way I see things. So your view is pretty cool because it's old school. You know, you have morals and stuff like that. That's the only way you're gonna like my podcast because it's mainly, you know, for not really conservative, but just like kind of old school. It's an old school mentality,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. That's why when I listened to it, I was like, damn, I agree a lot with what he's saying. And it like you said, it's a lot about morals. You know, my parents raised me up right. I wasn't raised, you know, I'll fail and anything like that. So I have morals. I'm was it well behaved, as they say,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. That's
So
good, man. And I
yeah.
mean, what sucks is like nowadays kids are being raised to, you know, just do whatever, not have any respect, and you know, and and that's why society's failing, you know. And then they make it okay to be like that. That's what's messed up.
Yeah. I well with me with my job, I work for the school district here in Houston. So I go and I deliver food. So I see some of these kids and I'm just like, damn man, what, and the parents won't do anything. They're just like, oh, you know, he's just that's just him. And I'm like, no, my mom would slap me in the fucking face for the way they would talk,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. They act like it's a phase and stuff, and like you know, you would see like kids just like cussing and f this and f that, and like I mean, I would cuss when I was a kid, but not out loud and trying to sound cool about it. I would cuss when I had to, you know, and it wasn't like part of my vocabulary every day, you know. But these kids try to sound crazy,
Yeah,
f
especially you
this and f that.
when you would cuss with your friends too, just try to sound cool and you know stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But yeah, I know kids like that they just straight up cuss, and I'm like, I don't even cuss like that, and
yeah.
you know, but their parents and their grandparents are okay with it. They're like, oh, mijo, that's just how he is. And I'm like, no, that's not how he is. Like, my mother would slap me, my grandmother would slap me, my tia would slap me, my
Yeah,
dad was, you know, because it's like that's like I said, the kids now that are growing up, they weren't grown up how or raised how I was grown up. You know,
yeah,
my parents told me, you know, you can't say, don't talk like that, you know, have respect, this and that. Kids like that, just they let them do whatever they want.
yeah. That's what it is, man. They let them do whatever they want, whenever they want. And so how did you find my podcast?
I think it was you followed me or I followed you.
Yeah.
I don't remember something like that.
Okay.
But I was like, oh, okay, this guy has the same last name as me. So before we go with there, tell our guest about your podcast.
Pretty much. I've had the idea for a couple of years. When I was working at the dealership, there was he was a driver, and I was in charge of the drivers because I used to work in the wholesale department,
Mhm.
which means we deliver parts to a bunch of like shops and auto shops and body shops, right? So I was in charge of saying, hey, you're gonna go to this area. You get this job and you get this work and you got to deliver here, right? And
Mhm.
I would always just, people would bring up like dumb topics about like celebrities or like just stupid shit that was happening. And I would just, rant about it. I would just keep talking about, hey, fuck this, and hey, how this is. And every day I would have something, And
Mhm.
then one of the drivers, his name is Robert Hernandez. He's like, hey, you know what, Ramos? You should make a podcast and call it Ranting with Ramos. I'm like, oh shit, that sounds good. That's a good fucking name.
Yeah.
So for a couple of years I had that name, and you know what? I was like, you know what, fuck it. Back in July, the July 4th weekend, I decided to record, and I was gonna give myself about a month to come up with topics or just something to talk about. But that weekend I came up with like what I originally started with was like the story of my life, like how I grew up and stuff, so people could know where I come from and my upbringing and what I've been through, and that way they'll get to know me. So
Mhm.
that's how I started. Like the first two episodes were about my life and just stories of me being a kid growing up. And then the third episode, I chose to go a different way. Over here in California, in the LA area, and even in like San Francisco, the street vendors, the eloteros, were getting beat up by blacks. They were getting jumped and beaten and robbed and stuff, right? So I was like, you know what? This is more important than me. I got to report on this. I know other people are going to be afraid to speak about that because there's a lot of other Chicano podcasters out here, but they,
Mhm.
they don't talk about that stuff. They're afraid because they wanna appeal to everybody. But me, I don't care if it's not for you, it's not for you. So I was like, you know what? This is more important than me. Let me go out there. And there's a dude, his name is the Hood Santa. I saw him I heard him on a different podcast, on Mega Man's
Mhm.
podcast. And so I started following him, and he was giving out pepper sprays to the vendors, right? So you know what, I'm gonna do that shit, but on my own. I'm gonna do like, because he was doing it like in Long Beach and stuff, right? I
Yeah.
was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to the fashion district in downtown LA. So I announced it. I'm like, you know what, I'm collecting some money to see if you guys want to give me some money so I can go buy pepper spray so they can protect themselves, right? No one responded. It was okay, cool. So I wasn't making that much money at the time, but I put together about $40 and about four pepper sprays. So they're about $10 each. I
Mm-hmm.
went out there, I gave them out. My wife was recording with me. I said, you know what? Let's just record it, not for clout, but just so people can see. Look, this is what we're doing, and so maybe they can see it and do the right thing also as well. So that weekend, I did it. I posted the video, and people started asking me, "Hey, well, how can I donate?" And then my daughter put it on TikTok, and it went pretty viral. Like there was
Mm-hmm.
thousands of people that saw the video, and I was getting money from Florida, and every single dollar that I got, I put towards that. I didn't take into account that my money that I spent or the gas money, whatever. I was like, everything's gonna go to them because they need the help. And
Yeah.
there's a man that I interviewed. It was kind of cool, man, because when I was interviewing him, I put my phone down and I recorded the conversation, and where he said that that same week some black kids were gonna rob him. And if it wasn't for a lady that knows those kids who stuck around to watch them to scare them away, he would have
Mm-hmm.
got robbed and beaten. And his wife does the same thing. So he asked me for another pepper spray. So that's an episode 3. If any of your listeners want to check that one out, it's just a really good episode. I'm out there in the streets talking to people and stuff. When that was really hot, it's still happening, but not
Yeah.
as bad.
Yeah, I heard about that because over here we have those elote man and we have stuff like that here. But when I heard about that was happening in California, it bothered me because I was like, why would you mess with these people? These people are out here hustling. They're just trying to provide for their family, and they're all usually older men. And it's like, why would you do that? They don't do nothing to nobody, and it really pissed me off, and it really made me
Yeah.
upset because it's like, why
Yeah.
you wouldn't do that to anybody else, and it's like you said, it's usually like the black kids or something like that.
Yeah.
Over here, it's quite different, I think, because everyone's kind of cool with everybody. So if
Yeah.
shit like that were to happen in like the black neighborhoods or anything like that, they kind of would stand up for those people, because I've never heard anything like that happen here, but I know in California it was happening a lot. And
Yeah.
I actually bought this shirt. I forgot the name of the company, but it says "Protect the Hood," and it has one of those elote men on the back. And they said
Oh,
that all
okay.
the money that they were gonna get from those shirts, I think like half of it was gonna go to like an organization to protect those people,
Oh, that's
because
cool.
that they're small businesses, and you do shit like that to somebody, you're robbing them of their livelihood and the money that they're trying to provide for their
Yeah.
family, and it bothers me that shit like that
Yeah.
happens to people, our own
Yeah.
people.
Our own people. You know what sucks too? Like some of our own people were doing that too. They've been doing it for a while. They call it over here. They call it taxing. They like for example, if you sell drugs here,
Hmm.
the mafia usually taxes you money, but they don't really tax the eloteros. But it's the gangs that tax the eloteros. But where I grew up, that never happened. They would actually buy stuff from the eloteros and tip them.
Yeah.
And what pissed me off too was like, man, it's like this man was about to turn 70, and I told him like it sucks because you would never see them pick on someone like me. They wouldn't do that to me because they know it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
They pick on the weaker people, like the older people, and maybe people who might be undocumented who aren't going to call the cops. So
Yeah.
that was it really pissed me off. And I even took the second time I went, I took my kids out there with me too, so they can see, hey, whenever you can help people, help them out, dude, no matter what. And it was kind of crazy, man, because we went to like the tough neighborhoods where like there was a lot of blacks. It's mainly like black neighborhoods, but these vendors still have to pass by there to just so they can sell, right? And a couple of times there would be like the grandmothers of the black people out on the front porch, and they'd be looking at me. I'm like, fuck, they're looking at my car, but fuck, whatever happens. God knows I'm trying to help my people out, and He's gonna protect me. I just said, and it was cool because my kids were out there with me too, and hey, hand me one, son, or hey, or they'd be like, hey, look, there's a paletero right there. I pull over and I jump off and give it to the paletero, and to see the smile on their faces, man, it's like, man, it's priceless, dude, because like they would see that somebody cares about them, like fuck, somebody actually cares about me, and then they would get kind of scared, like, can I use it? Yeah, dude, as soon as someone touches you, you can use it, and they can't do anything to you, and they were like so thankful, man. They would try to give me the product. I'm like, no, it's cool, dude. I'm and I would buy stuff off of them, and they would
Yeah.
try to hand me stuff like, no, dude, look, I'm buying it off you, and here's the pepper spray, protect yourself. And they're really, really appreciative, man. But there's other races that are like, they're really picky, dude, but our people are really, really humble.
Yeah, man, that's really great. I heard about that, and I think a couple of your episodes you mentioned that you and your family were out there, and I salute you 100%, dude. That's amazing. Did you go out there and help the community and help the raza? You know, it's because it's important. Because if nobody else is going to look out for them, we might as well do it. The ones that want to help, you know.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I said, man. Who else is gonna do it? We got to do it, you know.
Yeah,
We got to
exactly.
do it. And around that time, man, what was happening too? It was really the stand that I took was really, man. It was crazy, man, because it was when all that BLM shit was happening. And
Hmm.
I said straight out, I said, look, straight out, dude, I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. I don't back that. I don't, yeah, it's cool. I think all lives matter, but I don't back that organization because it's funded by that fool Soros. Soros is
Yeah,
funding it. And it's not even that Black Lives Matter. It's like a black supremacy. They want to be the best. For me, I think we're all equal. Like,
yeah,
yeah, sure, when you're younger, you grow up racist and stuff, but when you're older, you get to see, you know what, not everyone is bad. Some people are really cool, just like our people. Some people are messed up too. But that it was kind of touchy, man, because I was like, you know what, I'm not down with the BLM. And so a lot of people were kind of scared to even associate with me because of that.
hmm,
Like I mentioned, like if you listen back to around that time in July, August, podcasts, there's a lot of podcasts, dude, and they're pretty big, but they don't talk about that stuff. They're afraid because they want to be accepted by everybody. Even using the word, like me, I use the word Chicano, Mexican, because that's what I am. I'm not a Latino because I'm not, I'm not South American, I'm not Dominican, and
hmm.
or even the Latinx term. I don't agree with the Latinx term
I
because
hate
what it
that
is,
term.
yeah, I hate that term, dude. Really, what it is because of the new movement that they're doing, where they're trying to make everything like not have a sex. And so that's what it is. It's like a gender neutral term of the word Latino. I don't even like using the word Latino. I don't even like using Latinx because that's even worse.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I heard about the Latinx like maybe a couple years ago, and I was like, what is that? And someone's like, oh, instead of Latino and Latina, they get rid of those, I guess, gender pronouns and just put them
Yeah,
to include everybody who's
everybody.
transgender or bisexual or whatever. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And it's funny because you say the Black Lives Matter thing. Um, I was one of those people that was kind of nervous to talk about it, but I did voice my opinion. I did say, look, I don't agree with what they're doing. I do agree that Black lives do matter and that everyone's lives matter. I mean, it's not just one race's lives matter because we're all
Hmm.
in this together. We're all, like you said, we're all equal people. No one is better than everybody. Um, and I had a lot of friends that got mad at me, and I had a lot of people didn't want to associate with me on my podcast. I
Yeah.
actually had one girl, her name was Daniela, and she's a YouTuber here in Houston, and I asked her to be on my show. So I was like, "Hey, you want to be on my podcast? I like what you're doing." And she was like, "Yeah, sure, sure." So I think it was like during maybe a couple of weeks after the whole George Floyd thing when he got murdered. I did an episode with my girlfriend's brother, who is a gay left liberal,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
that episode was crazy. He pretty much went out the gate just like already criticizing me and this and that.
Yeah.
And when I finished that episode, I was really nervous because I was scared of what my response was, and I wasn't sure if people were going to agree with me. But I was like, you know what? I can't be a pussy about it. I need to
Yeah.
stand up for what's right and what I believe in because it's my opinion.
Yeah.
So I released it, and a lot of people were like, "Hey, I agree with you. He was kind of being an asshole, but yeah, I agree with you what you said."
Yeah.
So when that episode released, that girl messaged me and she said, um, based off your episode, I'm going to see if I'm going to be on your podcast or not. So
Wow.
she listened to it and she ultimately was like, I agree with so and so. And yeah, I don't feel comfortable coming on your podcast because I won't be able to discuss the whole Black Lives Matter. And I was like, I was not going to talk about that. I was going to just
Yeah.
talk about you and your YouTube and what inspired you and, how we can, I wanted to help a fellow, like, a Hispanic, I mean, gente, people.
Yeah.
I wanted to
Yeah.
help her out. You help me, I help you. But she didn't see it that way. And she was just all consumed by the whole
Yeah.
movement and what they were brainwashing him with all
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
stuff.
It's all brainwashing, dude.
So I was like, hey, look, I wish you best on your YouTube. Maybe we'll cross paths again and maybe we'll get this right. So But after a while, we kept throwing like secret jabs at each other, and people were like, "Why is she saying that?" And I'm like, "We have this beef going on." But
Yeah.
I don't wish her bad. It really bothered me that somebody would base their opinions on me based off an episode, which is like, you don't really know me, and it's like your episode was not even going to be like that.
Yeah.
So I've had my experiences with that as well, you know.
And it's just one episode, you know, it's just one episode. You can't base it on that, like you said. And also what happens is like kids nowadays, like they whatever's on TV, that's what they go after. Like they all want to be social justice warriors. Like that's somebody else's fight, dude. Like for example, you have the kids in cages, right? I didn't see the black people rising up and marching. Hey, we got to do something. And the kids continue to be in cages, and you don't see that. You don't see anybody doing protests about that.
I actually have a story about that too.
Yeah.
So I think this was like right after the march we had here in Houston, and somebody had said something. I forgot what happened, but pretty much this Hispanic man, or whatever he was, Latino, I think he was like Venezuelan or something like that. He had posted, "I'm afraid of what's going to happen because over here there was a lot of marches, but there were peaceful protests and, you know, they were rioting and stuff like that."
Yeah.
He was worried because they were going to bring that man's body back here to Houston because this is where he's from.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm afraid for my family and my house because, you know, I've what he sees on TV." And this black guy literally was like, "Fuck you, go back to where you're from. Trump doesn't even want you here," and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you know what? This was 11 o'clock at night. I was pretty tired, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to let this happen. So I stood up for that man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Hey, dude, you don't even know him. So why are you talking to him like that?" You know, and he started going on this and that. And I was like, "I don't see you people protesting ICE and these kids in cages." And he was like, "You don't understand, bro. We've been doing that." And I was like, "I've never seen a march here in Houston at all for that. We have a detention center for those kids."
Oh,
literally,
shit.
Down the street from my house. Really, I mean, it looks like a hospital.
Yeah,
but people don't know that it's one of those centers. And I actually had I knew a girl who worked there. She found out that I voted for Trump, and she was like, "Oh, please don't tell your people. Please don't." And I'm like, "What? I'm not. What? What is that? What does that mean? I'm not going to do anything. You know, I know what you're trying to do." She was very helpful. She was an educator, so she was teaching those kids how to speak English and helping them, you know. But yeah, that black guy, the Hispanic guy, he was like, "I'm not even Mexican, so why are you saying something like that?" And he started going off on him, and I was like, "Nah, bro, you're wrong. You need to back off. You need to get the fuck off. You need to just stop talking to people and just being racist." Yes, like you are promoting racism, and then you're saying over here that you want to end racism, and it's like you can't have one or the other.
Yeah, dude.
Racist. So it was like, I was like, "Nah, man." From that point, I just like, no, I need to stand up for what's right. I need to stand up for my people. If people are gonna, if other people, black people, are gonna be talking shit to Hispanics when they're like, "Oh, you don't understand," and I'm like, "Nah, bro, not gonna happen no more."
Yeah, because they'll just keep going, and then like I heard in like back east, they call like undocumented Mexican workers, they call them walking ATMs because they know that they don't have money in their bank. So like on Fridays they go jump people, and that's what they do. But speaking about, you know, you mentioned that you voted for Trump, and you know what's messed up is like nowadays you can't even disclose that information because you're considered, oh, you're whitewash, you hate Mexicans because of that, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I got called racist. I got called gentrified Hispanic. I got called all these things, and I'm like, no, I'm not any of that. I have my own opinion. I made my own mind up.
Yeah,
and it's funny because even family members were like, "Oh, there's something wrong with you. I don't want to associate with you." And I'm like, "It's my own family, bro."
Yeah.
You know?
With me, what it was like, when Obama was there, I voted for that for one time. The second term, I didn't vote for him. And then this last term with Trump, I didn't vote. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna vote. It doesn't matter because I have the mentality where like, no matter what, dude, they know who's gonna be in there. You know,
exactly.
Because I believe in conspiracies and all that shit. Not all of them, but I look into that. But this year, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna vote, dude. You know, whatever. You know, and I ended up voting for Trump. I knew he wasn't gonna win, but I voted for him anyways. And I didn't care what happened because I aligned more with what with the morals and stuff. You know what I mean? Even though I knew he wasn't gonna win, right? So my mom, one of her neighbors, and my mom doesn't work. She's disabled. She's at home the whole time. Okay. A lot of those ladies are just at home, and they're like, "Hey, who did your kids vote for?" She's like, "Trump." she's like, oh, no, nos están dando la madre tus hijos, porque, and my mom's like, they don't even fucking know you. What are you talking about? She's like, oh, they voted for Trump, it's bad for us. She's like, dude, she's like, if you want, you should have your kids vote. She's like, oh, they can't, they don't have papers. Well, why don't you vote? I don't have papers. Like, well, hey, then you can't say anything, you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
and we don't even know her. Like, how is that going to affect, her outcome? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then what sucks too is like, but for me, like I'm not a leftist, I'm not a righty. It's just more of a centrist, whatever makes more sense for me. I heard somebody speaking about that too, where like life isn't about one way or the other way. Life doesn't even have changes. One day it might be right, one day it might be left. So why choose your political views on that? Because life isn't like that. Life is different. Life is going to change.
Yeah,
You know what
exactly.
I mean? Just like if, let's say, the next election somebody else is a Democrat and I align more with his views, I'm going to vote for that guy.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. I'm the same way. It's funny that you bring up Obama. When Obama got elected, that was like what, 08? I was a freshman in high school. And of course, all the blacks and a lot of Hispanics were like, I'm voting for Trump. But I'm like, you can't even vote. You're in high school, dude.
Yeah.
But when you're kids, you're like, I'm going for that because your parents say that they're going there, so you want to agree with them. And I knew that I was against the grain because I was like, I don't like Obama. There's just something about him I don't like. And they're like, why? Is it because he's black? And I was like, no, I don't agree with what he says. And there's just a funny feeling that I have about this man that I just can't shake. And a lot of people didn't like me because I didn't like Obama. And then it turns out that the dude just sucked as a president.
Yeah, he did.
And when I did vote too, I didn't vote for him. I voted for Mitt Romney. And,
Yeah.
But
yeah, the thing about him that a lot of people don't know, our people actually don't know that he did the most fucking deportations in the history. He deported the most fucking people, did the most raids over here in LA. There's a lot of sweatshops where people do sewing and shit like that. He did the most fucking raids on people, and people still back him. And I remember the first time he won, I knew a couple of people, my coworkers, they're Mexican. They're like, yeah, my president's black. Yeah, but you're Mexican. What the fuck are you proud of, dog? Be proud if a Mexican is a president. My president's black. Who gives a fuck? He's not even full black. You know what his middle name is? It's Barack Hussein Obama. People don't know that shit. Then they don't like saying that, but
yeah. And I had a lot of Latinos say that too. My president is black, and I was like, but he's not even full black. He's mixed. And then it's so confusing with this guy because it's like you're from here, but then you're born here. Then it doesn't matter. Like I said, I had a funny feeling about the guy. And I never liked him. I have a bunch of coworkers who they voted for Obama and they had the whole hope shirts and I was like, hey, look, that's cool. That's your political opinion. I don't agree with it, but I'm still civil about it because that's how I was raised. Hey, you've got a different opinion, whatever. And I mean, and then now with people with Trump, they're like, oh, he's not my president and this and that. And I'm like, but you still live here. So, I mean,
yeah, dude,
technically you're president,
Yeah. Like no matter who it is, like, fuck, like it's Biden. Okay, fuck it. He's still the president. I mean, but he said he was going to change stuff. Kids are still in cages, but now they call it detention centers, right? It's not cages anymore.
They're in, was it those containers now?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so you went from a cage to a container. Yeah, it's a bigger space, but it's still a cage in a sort of way. So what do you? When we were watching the election, I was watching it with my girlfriend and her family, and they're like, "Who'd you vote for?" I was like, "I voted for Trump." They're like, "Oh, okay, well, are you gonna get mad if your guy doesn't win?" I was like, "No, I mean, we already knew, it's black and white that he wasn't gonna win. They already knew Joe Biden was going to win. And they were like, well, how do you think? And I'm like, it was on TV. It literally was like, you can see the polls jump in. I'm like, I knew he was going to win. And I was like, okay, yeah, he's the president, whatever. I'm like I said in one of my episodes, I will still respect the man. I'm like, yes, sir, Mr. President, whatever, this is that. But it's like, I didn't vote for you. I still don't like your views, but hey, you're the president. I need to respect you. That's how it is.
And the crazy thing is, man, like, people say the lesser of both evils, right? And pretty much all Trump did was he called us rapists, whatever, But this fool, Biden, he's a fucking pedophile, and there's fucking videos of that fool rubbing up on girls and sniffing them and shit like that.
Videos.
How the fuck are you gonna vote? How are you gonna vote for that guy, dude?
Yeah, and there's a video of him saying the N-word just like a couple of days ago. I was like, oh, This is not good. But nobody says anything. Nobody
Yeah.
has said anything about the kids in the container places. They haven't said anything about him saying that word. They haven't said anything.
And
You
then that
know,
video, that video that he was saying like, oh, in rural areas, he's like Latinos and blacks don't know how to use the internet,
I
right?
saw
So
that.
I posted that video, and some idiots like, he means rural. I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter what the fuck he said, rural. Or, there's white people in rural places too. He said specifically blacks and Latinos. That doesn't fucking piss you off. He's like, no, he meant rural. Obviously, you haven't left California. I'm in Mexico, and it's kind of rural. Yeah, but there's also rural places where white people live, like the
Exactly.
rednecks and shit. So to me, I took it like, hey, he's talking shit about us.
He
And
is.
some people aren't smart enough to figure it out.
And he's the one that was pandering to the Latinos, this and that. We got to get the Latino. You do. And then you talk shit about us as soon as you get in off. And that man is crazy. He's demented.
Now, dude.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what it is that people don't know. I think within a year, what's going to happen is they're going to put the chick in there, Kamala Harris. They're going to put her. They're going to say this was not competent enough. There's even a video of him saying like, if I was to go down where I can't make it, Kamala's ready to go or something like that. There's a video. I'll see if I can find it. Where he's talking about that, or they tell us what they're going to do already. But if you're smart enough, you'll be able to discern it. If not, you're going to believe the lies.
Yeah, I have a bad feeling about her too. There's just a lot of stuff racked up against her, and I'm like, no, thanks. And it's funny because all these people are like, oh, she's, I get she's a woman. That's cool that we have a woman vice president. That's awesome. But, they're just using her race and her gender and this and that to raise it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it's cool. But
to win the people over, man, especially now, like, feminists and shit like that. And it was crazy because I was talking about like the whole feminist movement, and what it is like feminists are like, women are strong and this and that, right? But the feminists also support like the whole like drag queens and stuff like that, right? Well, drag queens dress like women, like sexy women, right? And then women see that, the feminists are like, oh yes, queen, yes, you look good, right? But what's happening is that the whole drag queen thing is a contradiction, because you are they're objectifying women by the way they're dressing. You know what I mean? So it doesn't make any sense, like, because you're dressing provocative the way that supposedly men, quote unquote men, like women, and you're saying that it's okay. So it's a contradiction, dude.
Yeah, I have my girlfriend's best friend. He's a drag queen, and I went to one of his shows. We have in Houston. I don't know if you know, we have like this part of town where it's called the Gayborhood. It's called Montrose.
Oh,
and
that's like West Hollywood over here. West Hollywood. Yeah.
It's a small little area, and they have the streets painted with the rainbow flag, and you can see the rainbow and the transgender flags and this and that. And they have a lot of gay clubs there. Well, when I started dating her, I went to one of his shows, and straight up, I just felt uncomfortable. I don't even remember what it was. I don't remember the night, but I felt super uncomfortable. And I'm like, yeah, I'm supportive of him. That's his job. He makes his money. That's cool. Yeah. But it's like, I don't agree with it. He knows that. Maybe he's cool with it though. And I've had him on the show.
And that's good. And that's the way it's supposed to be. You still respect him as a person and what he does, and that's fine. People listening right now might think I'm fucking homophobic, but no, dude, I'm one of the biggest Morrissey fans you'll ever meet in your life, dude. I'm a big Morrissey fan, and he's bisexual. So I'd be a hypocrite to say I'm against all that shit. I just don't want to. It's just that on TV, they're pushing it, dude. Like, you can't even watch Netflix or TV without them showing that. It's cool. Like I said, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do behind closed doors, but they're pushing that, dude, and the kids get confused. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know that agenda.
And it's that's a whole mental. It's a whole mental thing, dude. Because if you're born with unless you're a hermaphrodite, then you don't know what the fuck to choose, and later on you can choose. But if you're born a male, of course you're gonna have testosterone. You're a dude. I don't know. I don't understand it because I'm not like that. I respect it, and that's what you want to do. I just don't like how they're pushing it on our kids.
Yeah, I totally agree. I can see that myself, that they're pushing the whole gay agenda.
It's a gay agenda,
and it's like, but these kids are 3 to 5 years old, and they don't even know how to wipe their own ass, and yet they're telling you that they're a girl inside, and it's like, no, dude, you're just go play with your toys. We'll talk about this,
Like, there's that dude, Gavin McInnes. A lot of people don't like that dude too because they think he's racist, but this dude, he was talking about how, like, there could be like a 4-year-old kid, and he's a boy, and oh, I'm a girl. Okay, my son says he's a girl. Let me fucking dress him up like a girl. He's like, dude, my son says he's a fucking dinosaur. What am I gonna do? Tell him he's a fucking dinosaur? No, you're a fucking kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't know. And then when you push all that stuff they see on TV, it's even in the kids' channels and the kids' TV shows.
Yeah.
They say
Yeah.
that, and it's like, God, what are we gonna do? I can't even show. You can't even show kids SpongeBob, and SpongeBob's even doing all
Yeah,
that.
pretty crazy. And since you spoke about the drag queen thing, they were having a fucking drag queens read stories to kids, dude. Like reading
Mm.
books to kids. Like, fuck. I don't know who the fuck would sign their kids up to that shit, man.
The woke ones that
The
happened here
woke.
in Houston. That happened here in Houston. We
Uh,
have a library here in downtown, and they had a couple drag queens do that. And it was funny because one of them ended up being they end up doing like a background check on him, and he ended up being like a child molester or something like that.
fucking
So
shit, man.
yeah, and it was like, well,
It backfired, dude.
they cut that right
That's what
out.
you wanted, huh? That's what you wanted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Jose, let's get to know more about you. So you
Yeah.
grew up in LA your whole life, right?
Yeah, and it's a small city called San Gabriel, but it's actually a really important city because it's the San Gabriel Valley. So the
Okay.
valley is named under San Gabriel, right? And the San Gabriel Valley consists of like a lot of cities. There's like West Covina, Azusa, a bunch of different cities. We're pretty close to LA, maybe about 10-15 minutes to LA.
Okay.
Right now, currently living in Alhambra, but I grew up in San Gabriel, and I grew up in the 1980s, early 80s and 90s, and around that time, there's a lot of gangs, man. There was my front neighbors. There's a couple of gangsters there, gangsters in there all the way in the back house. Because I lived in a bunch of apartment houses. They weren't even apartment houses; they're actually houses, separate houses.
Okay.
And in the rear house, there was gangsters there all around me. A couple of blocks away was the heart of the gang, which was called Sangra. And there's drive-bys. Fucking when we would walk home from school, we would get chased by people shooting at us, stuff like that. But even though I was into my stuff, like the new wave and stuff like that, my friends still
Mhm.
accepted me, and I was cool with them, because when it came down to fighting, I'd fight with them too, so and they grew up with me, so they were my friends,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's pretty much how I grew up. And broken home, typical, like like how everyone goes through. I have a stepfather. He used to beat the shit out of me and all that. I got tons of stories in my podcast that speaks about that. And speaking about that, I can tell you, and I can even speak about it, and I don't feel emotional, unfortunately. I don't know why. And even my stepdad, like a couple years ago, he's like, you know what, I'm sorry, Jose, for the way I treated you. And he'll start crying, and I'm like, no, dude, it's okay. I don't hold any resentment towards him or nothing like that. Even though it was your typical stepson who got fucked up, almost every day. My mom would fucking, whenever she was present, that didn't take place because she would back me up and she'd fight with him, toe to toe,
Mhm.
you know. So pretty much that, man. And um, I saw my friends all around me doing that and getting jumped in. I backed up the gang, got into a couple of fights and rumbles and stuff, but I never got jumped in. I never found the need to get jumped in because my friends are in the gang, and why am I going to get jumped in if I have their
Exactly.
their back and they have my back? What's the point of it?
Mhm.
I got a couple friends that got jumped in, and like one of my friends, a really good friend of mine, his name is Eric. Slick, shout out Slick. He's in jail. He's in prison. He's been there for almost 20 years. He was supposed to go to court this month. I think he might be going to court next month, but hopefully he gets out because a lot of the laws that existed when he was in there got they don't exist anymore. They got rid of those fucking laws. So hopefully he makes it out. The only reason why he got in there so much time is because the gentleman who got killed was a Marine or something like that. And so they,
Oh,
they, they
yeah,
make, they
that's not
make a
good.
big deal out of that shit, quote unquote, that he killed, but I know he didn't do it because the way he was is like he was able to get chicks like nothing, and he wouldn't fight somebody for a chick,
Oh,
because
yeah.
he can get any woman, So what ended up happening is, they ended up, some dude got killed, someone's baby's mama's boyfriend got killed. And when I heard that, I'm like, dude, he didn't do it, but they blamed it on him. So, unfortunately he was doing all the time, but he's a model inmate in there. He's doing really good. He's getting his degrees. So hopefully when he comes out, it's gonna be a lot better. He's got his wife, his girlfriend, baby mama stood by his side the whole time. He's a good woman, strong woman, raised their daughter. She's doing good. He's got a son too. And when he comes out, man, we're gonna do a show. We're gonna have a show for him. I'm gonna have him on my show, and he's gonna have his own podcast too.
Wow, that's
So look
awesome.
out for that. It's gonna be a badass fucking podcast.
I
I'm gonna
bet.
produce it. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm gonna produce it for him. Yeah.
Nice. That's always good that the people in there they want to better themselves, so they do the whole get their education and get their degree. That's always good, and then just being a model in prison, because prison's bad, and then you always got to have somebody who's a light to guide the people in the darkness, And then once people start seeing, okay, well, this guy's doing good, and maybe I should try to do that, So it's always good to have somebody like that, and hopefully he gets out and he starts all that. That's a really good start for him.
Yeah, and that's what he is in there, man. He's like helping people out and stuff. So, I know he's gonna do good when it comes out. It's gonna be different, adjusting to all this crazy shit and the way the world is, man. Because
a 20-year difference.
Even when I would go visit him, like it was like still 1997. The stuff we would talk about, like 90 stuff. He still knows what's going on in the world, but it's different, because for him, time stopped at that time. Like in the 90s, 99. So yeah, man. And he's just being strong and stuff, and he's got a lot of support from his family. So yeah, it's gonna be good when it comes out.
Yeah. So Jose, let me ask you this question. So we over here in Houston get this perception of how the Hispanics are or the Mexicans in LA are. Is it true that the whole the gimmick, well, I guess you can say gimmick, of them, like they're like, what's up, way, hey, what's up? Do they all talk like that?
Mainly, yeah. Mainly all of them are, yeah. Even I have a little bit of that, not too much, but yeah, I mean, almost everywhere, dude. Everyone's like, hey, what's up, hey, what's up, dog? Yeah.
It's funny because we over here we're a lot different. We're Southern and stuff like that. So, but the whole idea of like the LA culture, especially in pop culture and in movies and stuff like that, like American Me and Blood and Blood Out, we all see the like, what's up, way, this and that. And that's why I wanted to ask you, is like, is it really like that over there?
Like nowadays, that's kind of dying out, but you still see that in like the veteranos and stuff when they come out. Like, hey, what's up, dog? You got a franjo? They'll just talk like straight Chicano slang,
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of dying out though, because people pick up on that new slang. Even people that are my age, they'll start using the new words. Like, here's one that I fucking hate: vibes. Oh yeah, I feel the vibes. I hate that kind of shit. But people my age in their 40s, 35 will say vibes and shit like that. It's lit. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that is the whole Chicano thing that you see in the movies. Yeah, it does. It still carries on, but it's dying out, and that's a part of our culture, dude. Like as far as like 80s, 90s, 2000s, that was the culture, but it's kind of dying out now because even people my age are trying to be hip, and they use all these new fucking words and shit, like Latinx and vibes and all this shit.
That's funny. Yeah, it's funny because I always wanted to go to LA. When I graduated, my dream and my goal was to go to LA and to move to LA. Yeah. But I never got the chance. But I like the whole scene and the whole I will say vibe of LA. It's very beautiful. It's really nice. And I know there's kind of the uglier side, I guess, of LA, you know, smell or whatever. But I don't mind it. I live here in Houston. There's times where you can smell hobo piss on the street, and you have a nice building and a nice view. And it's like,
that's how it is, but the only time you'll smell that kind of stuff is like in downtown LA, like in Skid Row, like in downtown. Mm-hmm. Besides that, everywhere else is kind of clean. There's not too much. There's a lot of homelessness, but it's only little areas, a couple little blocks, where you'll see that. But I mean, growing up here all my life, I got used to it. So maybe to me, it's kind of like, okay, it's like whatever.
Yeah.
And I always talk to my wife, like, man, I wouldn't mind moving to Texas, because Texas has a good, like a dark wave scene and psychobilly scene and Morrissey. There's a lot of Morrissey fans over there. So I would fit in over there. There's spots over there too where people are fans, and a lot of bands go play over there too, So I wouldn't mind leaving LA because I'm tired of it already. There's too many fucking people here. It's overpopulated. So I wouldn't mind leaving, but she doesn't want to because of the heat.
Yeah, the heat is a bitch sometimes. Yeah. It depends on where you go. Like here in Houston, it gets hot, but it gets humid hot. And there's some days where you just you're dying. You want to go inside into AC and just stay in there. But it's beautiful here. It's really nice. there's a lot of scenes nobody really knows, because mainly Houston is just hip hop, but we have a whole indie scene, we have an alternative scene, we have a hardcore scene, we have a punk scene, we have all these kinds of scenes here, and especially in Austin too. I love going to Austin.
Yeah, that South by Southwest festival, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to go once every year. I mean, it's during spring break, so I try to go, because I have a cousin. He lives like maybe 30 minutes away from Austin.
Yeah.
So I go and I visit him, but I go to South by Southwest, and I love going, just discovering new bands and just taking it all in, because I love music,
Yeah. Yeah, me too, man. That's like my number one thing is music. That saved my life, music. That's what I'm really, really into. And I'm always into like discovering new music, but the only music that I cannot listen to is like reggaeton and all the bachata stuff and narco corridos.
Is that really? I know is that kind of big over there in LA though?
Narco corridos, yeah. People, they're even trying to mix it with that. A lot of Mexican kids try to do that. What do they call that shit? Trap.
Oh, trap.
Like trap corridos, kind of. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of annoying, man. Have you heard of the Edgar haircut?
Yeah, we have a lot.
They call them the hair for the Edgars and shit.
We call them cuz over here for some reason. Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah, over here they say cuz too, but they call them tacuaches. They say cuh.
We have those here too. We have them here too. I can't.
It's kind of trendy.
I can't stand it. I'm sorry, but it's it's cringy to me.
Yeah, no, it is. It really is. Yeah. I don't see too much of that here, but I know I got a homeboy in Bakersfield. He sees a lot of that there, and sometimes they have like those they have those truck meets and stuff like that, and they're kind of more into that. But man, there's I think it's called the food community, and sometimes they'll have like a lot of those Edgar fools like rapping like, oh, what do you guys think? And like, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I just fucking put trash cans because it all fucking sucks, dude. You know what I mean? I can make that fucking music, dude.
Yeah, yeah. I totally get that, and I agree with you too. Reggaeton, I can't vibe with it. I've had friends of mine. They have a little clothing company here. They're called Mija Cultura, and I've had them on the podcast. And it's part of my unpopular opinions. I was like, reggaeton is trash, and they got like upset. Damn. Their eyes were like, and I'm like, that's my opinion. It's just the music is bland. It's the same beats. It's probably the same producer. They all sound the same. And it's like, reggaeton maybe in the early 2000s was a lot more appealing and more, I guess, what am I trying to say? They were more, not competitive.
You can tolerate it shit or what?
Yeah, you can tolerate it.
Yeah.
And they had something to it. Every artist had something different to it.
The only reggaeton that I like is El General.
Yeah.
Hasta la mano si tú estás gozando. You heard that before?
Yeah, I've heard that
shit, that's the only shit I think is cool, Anything after that is terrible, like this Daddy Yankee, which is kind of old, but I don't know what. There's some new ones. What the hell's that guy? Bad Bunny and all that shit.
Yeah.
And then what's funny too is like some people will see someone like that, on TV or like on WWE. And they'll say like, oh, he's on there. We're winning. Latinos are winning. Like, no, he's not fucking Mexican. He doesn't fucking represent me. What the fuck? You know what I mean? How the fuck are we winning? That's not me. That's a fucking, what is he, Dominican or whatever the fuck he is?
He's a Puerto Rican. He's a Puerto Rican.
He's fucking, he's American. How the fuck are we winning? You know what I mean?
I didn't like him at all either. I mean, with the whole, he more feminine. He was wearing nails and like these weird glasses and
like he had his nails done or what?
Yeah, he had nails. He literally had nails, and he would just be like very feminine. And I'm like, I don't like that. And it's like, hey, do what you want to do. That's cool, bro. But I had a lot of friends that are like, oh, he's so brave because he's feminine and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, dude,
it's not brave.
It's a whole gimmick. It's a whole thing.
It's a gimmick
to grab y'all in.
Yeah, yeah. See, the thing with that, man, is like when I was younger, I would paint my nails, but the thing is, I was into like punk rock, dark wave. If you're into those kind of subcultures, it's accepted because that's a part of the subculture. You know what I mean? Or like when I would see people like painting their hair back in the day, you would only see certain people doing it. Or like even me, like I said, I would paint my nails sometimes, and I would do it now if I wanted to, because it's a part of the subcultures that I'm into, and it's not feminine, And I think unless you're into subcultures, then it makes sense. But if you're doing it for something else, it's a gimmick.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like dyeing your hair doesn't mean anything anymore. Anybody fucking has their hair dyed.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because like you're saying, like you grew up in the whole 80s and the whole 90s. My parents are kids of the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. 80s is their whole thing.
Yeah.
And they pushed that on us. You know, we watched a lot of 80s movies. We listened to a lot of 80s music. We like a lot of 80s pop culture and stuff like that. You know, me and my brothers. So we know about that. And I was like, that was accepted. And that was like, you were cool and edgy when you painted your nails and you had hair because you were different. Now you're just like part of everybody.
It's the norm, dude.
You know?
Yeah. Like you look at 6ix9ine with the rainbow fucking hair and all that shit and wearing pink and all that shit. You know, people think it's cool.
And it just makes you look like a clown.
Yeah, it's a clown. You know? It's a clown. Yeah.
And it's like,
because it's been done. Even tattoos, like you know, when I was a kid, I got my first tattoo when I was 18 and stuff in 1998, and you know, so I got a couple tattoos here and there, but I kind of stopped because it's pricey and also because everyone's got tattoos.
Yeah,
you know. Luckily, people would tell me, like, "Hey, what are you going to tell your son if he wants to get tattoos?" I can't tell him a shit because I have them, you know. But luckily, my son doesn't like them. And he's 21. He's going to be 21 next in May, so I can't tell him anything. But he doesn't like them. I have a bunch of tattoos all over my legs because one of the things I learned how to do was tattoo. I practiced on myself. In 2006, I bought a tattoo machine, and I started just tattooing, and I got better and better. But I stopped doing it. I would just tattoo friends and, you know, here and there. But I never learned from anybody. I just learned on my own before YouTube was showing you how to do it, you know. I haven't done it in a while, in about 3 years, but I've been wanting to get a couple things done. My wife tattooed a couple things on me too as well.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So is he your oldest, your son?
My oldest son, yeah.
He's 21. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
so,
I had him when I was 20.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah,
that's young, dude.
41. Yeah. So I listened to the episode that you did with your wife for Valentine's Day, and just like your story that y'all met in high school and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. So how long have y'all been married?
It's gonna be 21 years.
Okay, so the same
as my son, yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's really cool.
Actually, no, we got married when he was a year, so it's gonna be 20 years in May. But you know what? The thing is, we don't even celebrate that either, man. Like which is kind of weird. I don't even know what date it is. And even if my wife found out that I don't know what date it was, she wouldn't care because we don't really celebrate that, you know. I don't know, and I don't know what you got from the episode if you listen to it, but like we don't really even celebrate Valentine's Day because it's like we celebrate every day. I try to be nice and, you know, and treat her right, and, you know, without even thinking about it, like I'll buy her snacks or I'll buy her, hey, look, I found this for you. And it's like, cause you're always, you show that you're thinking about her by buying that stuff. And then I'm not thinking, hey, let me show her that I'm thinking about her. I just like, I feel it. So I do it. I don't let society tell me when to love my wife. Oh, it's Valentine's Day. You have to show them. So all these chicks, their husbands don't show them shit. Their boyfriends don't show them any affection until that day. It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. Yeah. I like the episode. I like y'all's point of view and just like, how y'all talk to each other, and just it's nice because, you know, a lot of people are just, you know, oh, you didn't buy me this and I didn't like you for that because you didn't buy me this or this and this and that, you know. And like what you said, I think I did a poll and you said you don't really celebrate Valentine's Day. And with me and my girlfriend, we celebrate it, but, you know, like you said, every day should be a day where you're showing love, not just on Valentine's Day, because even if you lose the person the next day or you lose them sometime, it's like, well, I only showed them love on Valentine's Day, and you feel that regret. So, you know, I do the same thing. I'll buy my girlfriend food or something. I'm like, hey, I got you this vinyl, or I got you this, or, you know, and she does the same thing. So it's showing love every day, because you shouldn't just show love. Like you said, society says, well, you have to show love on February 14th. And then after that, you can just do whatever the fuck you want, you know?
Yeah. So what do you know, I don't, right now we're entering the whole, you speak Spanish or no?
A little bit.
Okay.
You know,
well, they call it Quaresma or Lent. They call it Lent, right? They call it Lent. And people, they don't eat meat, right? Around this time.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, dude, like there's a taco chain over here. It's called King Taco. My wife loves it. And those tacos, I say, hey, dude, it's Friday. King Taco. Mexicans don't eat meat, so we go to King Taco and it's fucking empty because people don't eat meat, you know. Because mostly Catholics are. I mean, Mexicans are Catholic, you know. We grew up Catholic too, but when you get older, you realize that your parents, they're teaching you the right things, but when you get older, you get to make your own choices, you know. And luckily, my mom, I would tell her, like, look, you're not supposed to have images, you know, of Christ or of the cross or the Virgin Mary. It's just God. God hates all that stuff. So on her own, she looked it up in the Bible and she kind of turned Christian, you know?
Yeah.
I consider myself Christian, but I don't tell everybody, hey, I'm Christian, whatever. Because and what happens is, excuse me, people that say, hey, I'm Christian, and try to keep saying it over and over. It's like people that say, hey, I'm vegan. Hey, I cross
Yeah,
train. They want to show off and shit, right? So whenever you do that, people will hold you under a microscope, and everything you do, you're going to be judged by it, right? So
exactly.
I believe in God. I'm not really into religion because religion is man-made. But I believe in the Bible, and I mainly go by the Bible. And the Bible says you can. He sees it says, I put everything on this earth so you can eat it. You know, you could eat meats. You're not supposed to abstain from meats.
Hmm.
Also, as far as like the priests, it says in the Bible it says man should not be alone. I shall make him a helper. So he made Eve. So that's why you got all these priests fucking touching kids, fucking the nuns and having babies and shit because
Hmm.
men are made to spread their seed and procreate. You know what I mean? So that's why all this corruption is happening, because of all these man-made laws.
I never understood why the priest could never get married, and I was like, well, you can't have the. If I was alone by myself for my whole life, I would go fucking crazy.
Yeah,
It's like you have to have a partner. You have to have your Eve, I guess,
yeah,
with you.
yeah.
Because if not, then shit
You
happens,
can only
and
jack off so many
you know,
times, dude, and that's it. You know.
you get tired after a while, and you're
Yeah,
just like, I don't want to do this anymore, you know.
yeah,
But yeah, I am myself a Christian. My family, we were raised like that. It was all because of my grandparents. My grandparents were Catholic, but they end up going to church, and they start going to like a Baptist church, and then they turned the whole family around, and now we all go to church. And you know, I live and die by the Bible.
yeah,
I I don't believe in religion either. Religion is
yeah,
man-made. There's all these laws, and that's like the only law that I obey is the law of the Bible of what God
yeah,
tells me.
yeah, yeah.
And it's funny because speaking of the Bible and all this and that, I know you've heard about the preacher in El Monte. You
Oh
know,
yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
actually
yeah,
spoke
yeah.
about him. I spoke about him, man. What happened with me? It's like, dude, look, I'm not that radical when it comes to like anti-gayness. You know, like I mentioned, I'm a Morrissey fan, right?
Yeah.
So do whatever the hell you want to do. Just I don't want to see that shit, right? But these people that are protesting against him, it's like, dude, like if you don't like what he believes, don't fucking go there, and that's it. He already has people that are going there. If they want to believe him, they want to believe him. That's it. If you don't like it, don't go. Just like my podcast, your podcast. If you don't like it, don't listen. You have the right. Right now, we still have the right. You know, because I think what's gonna happen with the country is it's gonna turn communist, dude. And what's gonna happen is we're not gonna have any fucking rights. But right now, while you still have the right, if you don't like it, so I have a friend, and she's a really, really good friend. She's a friend, and she has like a nephew or someone. So she went out there and she was supporting him, you know. And I told her,
Hmm.
look, I said, look, you know my stand, you know your husband's stand, he's against it, but that's your family. I don't have anybody in my family that's like that. So I don't get but I understand that you're backing him up because he's your family. And you know, this guy's saying a bunch of hurtful shit, you know, and he was saying shit about women too. But the
Yeah.
stuff he was saying is in the Bible, but he was just taking it out of context. He was saying it kind
Yeah.
of crazy, you know, that all women can't be working, and you know, men have to take care of them. And that's why I was before. You know, my wife didn't work for like 15 years. I took care of the kids, I took care of them, and she didn't have to work. But realistically, you do have to have the woman if you're gonna buy a house, if you're gonna make it. You know, thank God I made it, but now we're a lot better. You know, we're not paycheck to paycheck.
Hmm.
But with the whole gay thing, what happened is there was a drag queen, they're protesting and they're having church, they're having mass, and the drag queen had a fucking megaphone. He's like fucking had it against the door. Like, come on, you don't gotta do all that bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What ended up happening is supposedly it got bombed, right? It got
Yeah.
bombed. But what they're saying is that it got bombed by the fucking people that go to church. So that way they make it seem like they're victims and shit. You know
Really?
what I
I
mean?
didn't hear that.
Yeah, because somebody in the comments said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna bomb it," but it's somebody that actually goes to the church. But then he erased the comment. So let's say I go to the church and I said we're gonna bomb the fucking place, and then I erase my comment so people don't notice it. That's what they're saying. That's what I hear from my friend. That and I believe it, you know. And what ended up happening is they had to close it, and he
Yeah.
moved somewhere else now to Montclair, I think.
Yeah. There's this podcast. I forgot what the name it was, but they live in El Monte too.
Yeah,
And I've heard about the story from my girlfriend. She showed me uh his name is Bruce Mejia. And I was watching the video and he was talking about, you know, he was saying faggot behind the pulpit. And I was raised in church my whole life, and I was like, well, I've never heard that before,
Yeah, me neither,
ever
man.
from the
Yeah.
pulpit. And I was intrigued with him.
They say sodomites, not faggots, you know?
Yeah. And I was intrigued with him. I was like, there's something about this guy that I don't know what it is. So I followed his church page, and I followed his personal page. And I just, and then I saw the video where he was saying about women, that women are weak. And then in the workplace, they're easier to
get to
do
and
stuff like
right?
that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, who is clipping your sermons, dude? Because this is not good. Yeah. And this podcast hates this guy. And one night I was like, so why do you hate him so much? And the podcast guy was like, well, I'm a agnostic, and I don't really care for religion. I don't really care for religious people, but this guy is spewing hate speech, and I don't like that. And it's like, okay, I understand. And I was like, look, I get what he's saying is too much to digest, because even for me, it's a lot to digest.
Yeah.
But, you have to see two sides and get his view. And I mean, I told him, have you listened to a full sermon of his? No. I was like, well, there you go. It might be all right, but then there's like a couple seconds where it's like boom, because my cousin's a pastor, and and sometimes he's even nervous. He's like, I hope I didn't say anything that was wrong, and I'm like, no, everything was good. So we had this conversation late at night, and he had tagged the pastor and his church Instagram. So we're talking, and then late at night, the pastor replies back. He was like, oh, so you think I'm cool now because of the stuff that I do? And I was like, oh shit. He replied back. And this is like late at night. And I'm like, oh, I forgot y'all like 2 hours ahead of it or behind us. So he starts conversating with the other podcast. And then in the morning, I asked him, I was like, hey, would you be willing to be on my podcast? And he's like, yeah, sure. Let's link up. And he's like, do you live in LA? And I was like, no, I live in Houston. He was like, oh, okay. He's like, well, I'm actually going to be there next weekend. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So this is, but with the whole thing that happened last week with the freeze and all that, I had to cancel on him because it's not that I felt comfortable. I was just really tired because we were out of power for like 4 days, and then just the freeze. It felt like 2 days.
Wow.
And it was like 4 days. And I was just like, I'm really just tired. I can't. So he understood, but we're supposed to do something in March. So I would like to get his point of view and pick his brain and see what he says. Cause I know there's a lot of far right people that say stuff like that. And, when I grew up in church, they were not they were kind of right, but some of them still dress like they're in the 90s, dude.
Yeah.
They have like that puffy hairstyle and the poofies, and they wear like the long dresses. And I'm like, guys, it's like 30 years. Like you need to, like update your wardrobe. At least you can be modest with modern wardrobe. But they're Bible believing and stuff like that. And it's funny because it's a white church. And some of them could be kind of crazy. Yeah. But I was like,
so you talked to the Mejia, Pastor Mejia?
Yeah, I talked to him.
Crazy.
Yeah, I was like, hey, let's meet up, or not meet up, but like, hey, let's do a podcast. And I told my cousin about it because he was intrigued about it. He's a pastor, and he was like, I would like to be in that. And I was like, yeah, dude, I totally want him in there.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do an episode in March, and I need to keep in contact with him more. And because I did see that he moved, and I saw all that, and I was like, man, that's not right. Why? If somebody within the church did that, that's like a whole Judas move. You're part of this church, and these people accept you, and then you turn your back and do that. It's wrong. Yeah. You can't do that to the house of God.
But I think he moved because they bombed it, dude.
Yeah, they had to move. They tagged it and they bombed it, and I saw those people. They were protesting and marching, and I'm like you said, if you don't like it, then
don't listen to it or don't go.
Block it out. Block it out. Yeah.
You all you're doing is you're bringing more attention to it. Just like you mentioned, you followed him. So did I. I followed him to see what the hell's going on. You know what I mean? I want to see. So that just brings more attention. When he gets more follows, he's going to get more follows because he's going to get more, what do they call that shit? The algorithms. The algorithms are going to see, look, and he's going to show up in more feeds. But that's a good idea, dude. Like, I thought about interviewing him. And I'm like, fuck, maybe he's not gonna want to, but that's a really good idea, man. You're gonna do it in March. That's good.
Yeah, and I need to ask the other podcast guy. It's like, hey, did you ever get with him? And because he said he wanted to interview him too, but
Yeah.
I feel like maybe that guy's just being chicken shit and didn't want to do it because
Yeah, people like that are they just talk, and even if he was to have him on there, it's not gonna be a civil like interview. He's gonna be more like attacking him and shit, you know.
yeah.
And yeah, I don't think it'll be good because it'll be more like an attack, and the guy's probably gonna fucking quit half mid interview, you know.
I don't know. He's pretty hard, not hard headed, but he's like, yeah, fuck it, just come with me.
Hardcore.
Yeah, he's hardcore,
Yeah,
and that's pretty cool. But I mean, but he'll stand for what he believes in,
yeah.
even if it's not totally correct. But it's like, that's somebody who believes in what they believe in.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff that he's saying is true. It's just a delivery, the way he's saying it. If he was to say, "Look, sodomites, repent, sodomites, you're doing this," but he's saying fags and all this shit, and that's why they're getting offended, dude.
Yeah, I was talking to my coworker maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, "Hey, I haven't heard somebody said faggot in a long time." I think they just because with everything being woke and everybody being so far left, they stopped saying words like that, and it's like, man, I haven't heard anybody say that in a while. Who's going to bring that up? And then he brings it up, and I'm like, it's back. There we go.
You know what's crazy, man? The whole term woke really means like what I am. Like I'm like not really a conspiracy theorist, but just being open to everything and what's really happening. That's what being woke really is.
Mhm.
But nowadays, being woke is a fucking social justice warrior. You know what I mean?
That's what they play. I'm woke, and I'm like, dude, no, you're not, because they are just woke to what they believe in and their ideas. They won't accept anybody else's.
Yeah.
Like you said, you see both sides, and you get both sides of information, so you make your idea, so you're woke. But people like that, it's just another term like vibe and it's lit and stuff like that they use.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, just like the word love. I was telling my wife, like, love is so like fucking. It's so they use it like nothing, like love, like oh, I love this, or I love this band. Like, no, you fucking don't, you know. And I was telling, like I said on my podcast, like I'm a big Morrissey fan, so a lot of times, a lot of the stuff that I think, it just references to the words in his lyrics, right? So like in a Smith song, he says, "Heavy words are so lightly thrown." So the word love is a heavy word, but people use it so lightly, so easily. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, like
Everyone
love is love. If you know what love is, man, love is like, man, like you die for somebody, you'll kill for somebody. You know, personally, me, I'll fucking kill, I'll fucking die for people I love, you know. And you're not gonna fucking die for that band. You're not gonna die for that fucking cheeseburger.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, I totally agree with you. The word love it's just so watered down now. And it's funny. Like you said, what he said, heavy words are just so thrown around.
Lightly thrown, yeah.
Lightly thrown. I know I follow this group because I like pop punk. I grew up in the early mid 2000s, and I like that kind of music, Blink 182. So I joined this group, and the word they use a lot is Nazi and white supremacy.
Oh, yeah.
So somebody had said something. They used an Archie comic, and they dressed them up as like punks, left liberal punks.
Yeah.
And they're like, if you're a Nazi, you can't like pop punk. And I was like, what does Nazi mean anyways? I know what it means, but I was just like, hey, what does it mean to you guys? Why? What do you consider to be a Nazi? What are the qualifications of being a Nazi? I was like, I feel like this group throws this word in this to everybody to where it doesn't mean what it's supposed to mean.
Yeah.
And all these people jumped on my ass, and they're like, "You're a white supremacist. You're a Nazi, and this and that." And I'm like, last time I checked, I'm brown. And, I'm not a white supremacist, but I had a lot of people back me up. They're like, hey, man, he's just asking a question. It's a civil question, but they jump on my ass because they that's all they know, just to attack.
Yeah.
And instead of thinking like, oh, maybe we don't know what that word means because everyone uses it nowadays. If you fucking cut your grass at night, you're probably considered a Nazi.
You're Nazi, yeah. It's all cancel culture and shit. We're gonna cancel this. Like my daughter was telling me about there's some like Vietnamese or Chinese dude. I can't think of his podcast, but he kind of talks against like I guess they're saying he's like a fucking anti-feminist or some shit like that. So they're trying to cancel that guy. He's got a little podcast. And I heard it, and he's just saying like, like Um, you just kind of talking like how chicks are objectifying themselves and sleeping around like with dudes, and like
Mm.
how real men are not gonna want to be with somebody like that. They're just gonna use them and abuse them and shit. I was kind
Yeah.
of listening to it a little bit, so they want to cancel that guy out because what he's saying and shit. Oh, he's canceled, and that's the word that they use. They cancel. Me personally, you can try to cancel me. I don't care. It's not a big deal. Like what happened with me is I was sharing a lot of conspiracy theories and shit like that, theories and shit, and my thoughts and stuff. And what happened with me is I have Anchor. That's what I used to as a hosting site for my podcast, right? So when I started, I had a sponsorship with them. So I
Mhm.
tell you, hey, use Anchor. It's easy. What are you waiting for? Do a fucking podcast, right?
Yeah.
So Spotify bought them out. And Spotify is really conservative. They're really like left wing and shit, right? They have Joe Rogan. A lot of Joe Rogan's episodes were taken out because they're kind of too right wing,
Yeah.
or Nazi, So they try to cancel him. So what happened was, I guess they found out about my podcast and they took away my sponsorship. So my sponsorship is no longer active, right? So
Mhm.
that's the second thing that happened. The first thing that happened to me is I looked into I think it's called truthfinder.com, and I put my name in there. I didn't pay anything, and it said it made sure it was me because it said, do you know this person? Did you live at these addresses? Whatever. It says that I'm on a FBI watch list because that could be a part of a fucking extremist group or some shit like that, right?
What? Oh,
Yeah,
I heard
dude.
about that.
Yeah. So I put that on there, right? And the third fucking thing that blew my mind, and it made me believe it, is that next weekend I was going to do a podcast in the morning at a park. I was going to pick up a homeboy, right?
Yeah.
My wife had to work that day, so she went to work. She went to a store to buy some, a couple snacks for her, and she went to go use her ATM card. Right, ATM card did not work. It was declined. She's like, "Hey, babe, it's my ATM card's not working. You know what? We'll call it later. Maybe somebody try to use it, and they'll send you a new one. Cool. All right, cool. Use your whatever card. Okay." So then I go around 9 a.m. to buy my kids breakfast before I leave so they can have breakfast because I'm going to take off and do a podcast, right?
Yeah.
I go to Denny's, I go to pay, and my card declines also as well. It's a joint account and it's our checking account, right?
Hmm.
So I tried my phone, you scan it, bing, the scanning, it didn't work. I tried the card, it didn't work. Same thing. I had to use a credit card. Boom. And I called. They're like, no, it doesn't say that it got declined. I'm like, yeah, it got declined like 3 times. My wife's got declined. How is it not showing there? She's like, I don't know. There's no block. So they ended up blocking my credit cards, dude. And people found out about it. There's other podcasts that exist that are Chicano, quote unquote, Chicano podcasts. And I hear them talking, I listen to the podcast, I support them and shit. And they're like, hey, there's people that are fucking paranoid to think that the government's after them and shit like that. They should get a check before they get a gun. They're kind of throwing the rock at me and shit. The shoe fit me because you're
Yeah.
talking about me. I haven't said anything back, whatever, but they, people think that I'm crazy and shit. But how the fuck is all this evidence that I can show you, dude, that they're fucking, they already demonetized me on the podcast, right? And they blocked my fucking card. My name's in the fucking database, but the database thing, some other dude told me like, hey, you know what? I got the same thing. So I looked at it. I looked at his fucking Instagram, right? This guy's fucking BLM, fucking left wing. I'm like, nah. You know what? That's probably some generic thing that they post on everybody so they can make you pay money and find out more about why you're on that list, right?
Yeah.
Because this guy is the establishment. He's doing what everybody wants him to do. So that kind of discredited what I thought about, the whole watch list and shit. Because if he's getting that warning and he's with the establishment and I'm getting that warning, then it's not valid.
Yeah. That is crazy that your
Yeah.
cars got declined and
Yeah,
there
dude.
was nothing wrong with them.
Yeah, nothing wrong with them. They're saying we can't find anything wrong with them. I ended up having to order a new card. Luckily, I have an iPhone, so with the iPhone, I was able to use a digital card in the meantime. Whoever
Yeah.
had that, what do they call it, iPhone Pay?
Hmm.
I was able to use pay with my phone and shit, and so was my wife. But now I've got the card. But so with that happening to me, I'm like, you know what, dude? I'm such a fucking small podcast. I'm not a big voice. I've only got about 3,600 followers on Instagram. I don't have that many listens. Luckily, people listen to my podcast worldwide, dude. Like Singapore, Australia, all these fucking Germany. Is like, oh shit. And I'm thinking maybe it's troops or someone that's listening.
Yeah.
But yeah, recently I got Singapore, and I got I can't even think of the fucking name, but yeah, it's growing. I'm small, but it's like I'm dangerous because of the shit that I'm saying, you know. And some dude was telling me, "Hey man, you really think that they care about what a Chicano is saying?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course they do, man."
Yeah, they
And the
do.
fact that you don't know that is fucking stupid, because we're not the minority, we're the fucking majority. If we were to wake up and find out what the fuck's really going on, we can fucking overpower these motherfuckers, but that's not what they want. And that's why they see me doing this shit, and I'm small, right? But I have the potential to be fucking dangerous if it spreads. If people can wake up, if I can get people to listen to me and actually do the research themselves and find out what the fuck's really happening, we can be fucking dangerous. And they don't want that shit.
Exactly. That's what I tell a lot of people. It's like they expect the Hispanics and the Mexicans to get in line, just like the blacks, just like the chinitos, just like
Yep.
everybody. But once we start taking left instead of right, and we start seeing stuff for our own, then it's like, nah, we got to tell everybody else, man, y'all got to get out of there. And it, like I said, your podcast blew up in like 7 months, and I was like, that's crazy. But
Yeah,
like
it's
I said, the
crazy,
stuff
man.
that you say is so truthful, and people are
Yeah.
going to attach themselves to that, because it's like, yeah, this guy's saying the truth. You know, I agree with what he says. Like me, I agree with what you say, and
Yeah.
I'm like, they do find you dangerous. They find
Yeah.
us dangerous because it's
Yeah.
like I said, when we're not in line like everybody else and we're off doing our own thing, they're like, oh shit, you know, these
Yeah.
fucking people that there's a lot of them. There's a lot of us. They don't
Yeah.
think that, but there is. You know,
Yeah.
we're the majority, but people don't see it that way. They want us
Yeah.
to just be brainwashed and be
Yeah.
in line and stuff like that. And it's like, nah, bro, we know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. We're what they call like the sleeping giant, but right now, like Voltron, the fucking legs aren't working right now because motherfuckers don't know. But once they find out and everything comes together, but right now, yeah, that's the thing, man. Like, and you know, it kind of does kind of piss me off that fools other podcasts kind of talk shit and do subliminals. But at the same time, it's like, dude, I'm gonna keep doing me. You know, I know that I'm on another level than these motherfuckers, and they're afraid to touch on the touchy subjects. They're afraid because they don't want to lose their followers. I don't give a fuck. If you want to listen to it, it's for you. If you understand it, then you're gonna spread it and you're gonna tell other people. I don't care about popularity, you know, and I don't care about money. I'm just doing it for just to do it and have people leave something behind and educate people on the little bit of stuff that I know. And don't believe me, look it up yourself and you'll see for yourself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's some crazy shit out there happening, you know. But I kind of stopped with sharing the whole conspiracy stuff. I just do it on the podcast, so whoever is the listener is gonna learn, and they're gonna know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But as far as like reaching out a little more, it's like, hey, dude, I kind of stopped because I stopped. They show me what they can do to me. What else can they do to me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of stopped with the whole spreading it on the Instagram, but in the podcast, I still talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that, and you were posting all that. I was like, that's crazy. And it's like, but it's not too crazy, because it's like he's saying the truth and he's speaking his mind, and people ain't don't like that. So of course they're gonna be like, what can we do, you know, behind the scenes to get this guy to notice, hey, cut your shit out. Don't be saying this crap, because you know, once you start saying it, everyone's gonna start noticing it, you know.
Yeah. And what they do too, as far as like what they'll do, they call it shadow banning with my stories, because I do a lot of stories. I don't really do too many Instagram posts. I do many stories of like what I'm doing. Hey, this is what
Yeah.
I'm doing today. This is what I fucking did today, you know? And what they'll do is let's say like right now I'm being a good boy and I'm not really posting conspiracy shit, right? My views will jump up. Whenever I'm posting conspiracy shit, my story views drop by like 100 views, you know. So that's what happens. They control that shit. And then I had an incident happen where I posted something about I believe, it was about COVID, about the vaccine and what it's doing, how people are dying and they're getting Bell's palsy and shit like that. And
Mm-hmm.
some fools like, oh, you know, you're a fucking racist and shut the fuck up. Five of my fucking family members died, whatever. And I said, look, man, fucking unfollow me, you fucking pussy, right? And I
Yeah.
posted that shit back to him, right? It wasn't like on a page, it was just a DM, right? I said, unfollow me, you fucking pussy. And dude, it said, oh, your fucking comment has been taken down for a fucking because it's a fucking hate speech, right?
Mm-hmm.
It said it's a fucking hate speech. It got taken down. And I'm like, what the fuck? My comment got taken down on my Instagram page, but I realized this is not my fucking app. This is not my platform. It's Instagram. Instagram can do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Yeah. That happened to me a couple of times on
Yeah.
Facebook.
You know what, dude? Right now, I gotta take a quick piss. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine.
You
Go
can
ahead.
edit that out. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
I
be
can
quick.
edit this
Okay.
out. Yeah, I
All
can
right,
I
I'll
can
be
pause
quick.
it real quick.
All right.
All right. We're good. We're good. Ooh, yeah, no, I have to go too, but I'm like I can hold it. so yeah, but we were saying this is all the crazy shit that's happening. It, like you said, the shadow banning, and I said that that happened to me on Facebook. So there was a comment that somebody had said something. Steve Kerr of the Golden State Warriors had said something about the Rockets, and I was like, Steve Kerr's a cunt, pretty much. I just said it flat out. He's a cunt.
Yeah.
And I got banned like that. They were like, your comment is bullying and harassment and blah, blah, blah. And so they blocked me for 24 hours. And I was like, and I did a review and I was like, yo, literally everybody on here is using that word, but why are you blocking me from that? And I've had people where I've said, call them gay and stuff like that. I was like, oh, that's stupid. And I got blocked, but I always beat it for some reason. But like I told my cousin, because me and my cousin, we both think the same way. I was like, it's probably because of all the stuff that they see on my post, that it's all conservative somewhat, and that, well, he's not a part of the establishment. He's going against the grain, and we're just gonna block him because I have a friend of mine. He's the same way, and he'll say shit like that. He'll go to Facebook jail like maybe twice a month because of stuff he says. But it's like they're pinpointing these people that don't agree with what their agenda is, and there's like, let's get them out here,
Yeah, that's what they're doing, man. It's like, and now it's like, fuck, like I tell my brother, like, that's a pretty good episode of my brother. His name is Charlie C. I think it's episode 32. Really good episode where he talks about that. I was kind of afraid to have him on the show because he's pretty, he has no filter like me, but he's crazier because he'll say whatever, but he was actually pretty good about what he said. And people might think he's a conspiracy theorist, but he's not, because sometimes me and my mom will talk about stuff and he'll be like, no, dude, like, well, how do you guys believe that? How do you know? He looks more into the facts, more than us. And he was saying how like they're making it like Germany, where in Germany they took your guns, right? They want to take our guns, right? And then they took the books, but now they're not taking our books, they're taking our social media. That's how you spread information. They're silencing that, and that's what they want to do eventually. They want to take your guns. And it's gonna happen, dude. And sadly, I don't want that to happen, but I think we are gonna end up seeing that where it's gonna turn to communism, because it's going that way and it's headed in that direction, But only the smart ones are gonna notice that.
Yeah, I've noticed that too, and I've seen that. And it's, once they, during the whole Nazi Germany, they were burning books because, like you said, that was information of getting spreaded, and they didn't like that, so they burned them. And it's the same thing we're going to do. They're going to get rid of our social media, and they're going to get rid of all the people that don't agree with what the establishment says. So it's just all going to be what they want to see and what they want to hear.
Yeah. That's what they want, man. It's been a long time coming. Like even when Trump was in office, the lefties are doing that, and they're trying to fucking take everything away with the guns too. It's like, but with guns, it's like, hey, dude, like, guns don't kill people. People kill fucking, people kill fucking people. It's not guns. You know what I mean?
A machine.
Yeah, just like they're saying that there's more murders with knives than with guns. Why don't they fucking ban knives?
Because
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's something with a gun that they want to ban because they know that that's the most powerful thing. I mean,
and that's how you're going to protect yourself when they because what's going to happen is I don't know if you've heard about FEMA camps and all that shit, but let's say, for example, with this whole pandemic that's happening, let's say they want to come to your house and they want to take you, let's say someone like me or you who really knows what the fuck's really happening, you're talking, you're spreading that knowledge, right? They're going to come after people like that, right? Now, if you don't have any guns, how are you going to protect yourself? If you have guns, you're going to protect yourself from whoever's going to enter your home. Yeah. Just like, even if it's not the military, if it's somebody else, if you have guns, you can protect yourself. Now they want to take your guns away, so when they come get you, it's even easier. And that's what they want to do. That's the only reason why they would want to take your guns away. I don't see why else they would want to take your guns away.
Yeah,
criminals have fucking guns. You're not going to take their guns away.
They got AKs, they got GATs, they got everything, and they don't take them away. That's what I really want to do. My cousin has been in my ear a lot, saying, "Hey, dude, get your handgun license. You need to get it, because ultimately they're gonna take it away, and then it's like you need something to defend yourself. Because over here, it does get pretty bad, But I would personally like it because I just want to protect myself, and then it's my girlfriend or my family's with me. I just got to have that, But like I have faith that God has me. But even then, He's like, sometimes you got to strap up,
Yeah, you do. I was gonna say, oh yeah, as far as like how is it over there with like people talking about like the vaccine and shit? Are people excited to get that or what?
Oh my God,
they're bragging about that shit, huh?
Yeah, I have my girlfriend's friend who I don't really like, and she's probably listening to us, so I don't go fuck, she got approved to get the first shot, and she was like, "Oh, I'm so happy, that I'm getting this shot. Fuck you, motherfuckers. Y'all gonna be still having COVID, and I'm gonna have the shot." So she's pretty much acting like it's it's gonna
a privilege, or
like
a lottery and shit.
She's like, "I'm gonna kiss everybody in the mouth, when I get it." And I'm like,
"What the fuck?
You're stupid as fuck." Yeah. And with the whole COVID, how did it affect you and your family, over there in LA? Because I know LA shut down and it was bad.
Yeah, LA shut down, but personally, in my home, it's my wife and my two kids, and my wife got really, really sick. She got tested for it. She works like in the medical industry, and so she's always getting tested like every fucking twice a week, I believe, and she got tested. She got really, really sick. She got tested. They said she didn't have it, right? But she stood home for like fucking 2 weeks. She didn't get paid,
Ooh, yeah.
My brother, a lot of people on his job got it. He got it. He beat it in about 3 days. He went to my mom's house, and I was there, and he was wearing a mask. He was all strict about it. I was like, dude, who gives a fuck? If I catch it, I catch it. It's just a fucking flu. And so no, it didn't affect me personally. My work in the beginning, a lot of places were shut down. So, I have to go into businesses and spray and treat for insects, right?
Yeah.
Now, excuse me, a lot of places were closed, so I was unable to treat. It hurt me by a couple $100, but then after a couple of months, everything opened up again, and a lot of these places were able to function because a lot of the places are essential. Because in order for them to receive pest control, they are essential because they need us to control the pests. You know what I mean? So right now, pretty much everything's open except for schools. A lot of schools, there's a school that I hadn't serviced in about a year. I told my boss, "Look, dude, they're closed. I think it's been about 6 months." He's like, "No, Jose, I looked at the records. It's been a year since you serviced it." I'm like, "Okay." So they ended up canceling it because it's already been too long. But as far as for me, I know, yes, it is real. Was it fabricated? Yes, it was fabricated. But to me, it's just a flu. It's just a really strong flu, right? And am I scared? No, I continue to live life every day. If I die, you can die crossing the street. You can get hit by a fucking car. I'm not gonna let that fucking flu control the way I live. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep living life. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. You know what I mean? Am I more careful around my mom? Yeah. Am I washing my hands every fucking time and disinfecting them? No, I'm not doing that shit. Realistically, what I think it is the mask is, you have the mask on, right? When we expel carbon monoxide, right? Not dioxide, but monoxide, right? So if you're wearing the mask, you keep fucking breathing that in. There's a moisture, bacteria breathes in moisture. So you have that shit in your face all the fucking time, right? That's what's getting you sick. The people that are getting sick are people that are wearing masks and abiding by the rules and wearing fucking gloves to fucking pump at the gas station and shit like that. Me, I only wear that shit when I'm gonna enter a store or when I'm gonna go fucking do a job. Other than that, I don't wear that shit. I don't wear gloves. I'm not washing my fucking hands. You know what I mean? Even though I deal with fucking chemicals every once in a while, I wash my hands because of the chemicals and shit. But I'm not like fucking. I should be more scared of the fucking chemicals, dude. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
They can fucking kill me. But I've always been like that, man. I just live life. I'm not gonna let that. That's what they want. They want us to be more scared, right? So you may never catch the fucking COVID, but you're going to be affected more by other diseases like stress, like high blood pressure, because you're so fucking scared. And that's what's going to mess you up. You're going to get a heart attack. You're like, oh shit, I'm going to fucking die of the fucking COVID. So what I'm thinking is they're scaring us into getting the vaccine, and the vaccine is going to have some shit in it where it's going to fuck you up. That's what's going to really harm you. This is just the flu. You know, thousands of people die of the flu every year, right? But now all of a sudden the flu's on vacation. Who have you heard that has got the flu? Nobody.
Nobody.
Somebody can get run over or shot. They're gonna blame it on the fucking COVID. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is they're introducing something in that fucking vaccine to hurt us with it. There's a homie that I follow. His name is Marvelous Inc. If anybody's on Instagram, look him up. He's really good. He's got a lot of followers. He doesn't push his info, but every once in a while he'll post some videos, very, very informative. And a lot of them are conspiracy theories, but he does a lot of research. And the reason why, he says, look, I'll put something out there, but I do the research because I don't want to put something out there and then it gets proven wrong and I'm gonna look stupid. That's me. That's my fucking word that I'm putting out there. So he's really careful about what he puts out there, right?
Yeah.
And this guy was saying that what they're putting into your blood with that vaccine, it's altering your DNA. It's making your DNA it manipulates it. So with those 5G towers, that 5G radioactiveness can affect you even more. Like a microwave is going to fuck you up because your DNA is going to be changed. You're going to be more affected by all these fucking radioactive waves, and that's what it is.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that with the whole. I don't trust that shit. They made it too fast.
Yeah,
and all these people are getting hit. Literally, I swear.
yeah.
There's lines like miles over here in my area because we're pretty much Hispanic in this area, but there's a lot of like clinicas and stuff like that.
Yeah,
miles of cars just waiting to get the vaccine, and I'm like, you pendejos, why are you getting it?
Why? Yeah.
And like you were saying, how life goes on with you. So it's funny because I've talked about this on the podcast before, but before COVID hit, it was me and my friend Edwin. I've had him on the show, and he was like, "Hey man, why are the trips to China so cheap, or Japan is so cheap?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Dude, that's like $500, I think, or it's like that for one person." Wow. He was like, "It's like $200." And I was like, "It's super for a round trip."
Yeah.
And I was like, something's not right. So we went to celebrate his birthday. He's in February, and we had a good time. No, this is before the whole mask thing. As soon as I went on spring break, they were like, "Hey guys, we're closing the schools down." So pretty much from March to, I guess we can say now, I've literally been working nonstop. I work with the Houston Food Bank. So we were helping out communities, delivering food and giving them all the supplies and stuff like that. And I made money. I made bank. I was like, fuck it, guys. I'll go into work. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. I'm making extra money on top of money. So it didn't really affect me as much, but a lot of places did close. I like to live my life. Me and my girlfriend, we go out, we go to the club, we'll go to the bar, we'll go here, we'll go there, and we enjoy our lives. But with COVID, everything shut down. And I was like, fuck, I can't even do what I want to do anymore. Yeah. And I don't have the problem with the mask. It's like, look, if I got to go to the record store and I got to wear a mask, that's fine. I don't give a fuck. But I'll take it off as soon as I'm out. As soon as I'm outside, fuck it. I don't give a fuck. Take that thing off. And my girlfriend's brother, he caught COVID. So, and his friends are white, and they didn't wear a mask. They were going out wearing no mask and stuff like that. So they ended up taking it home, and he got sick, but he ended up he's not dead. So
is he the gay dude you were talking about?
Yeah. But he's so dramatic. He was like, you and her out there popping out pussies, going, and heading out here and there. And I'm like, dude, I'm 28. I'm going to go live my life. Unless, yes, I'm protective. Yes, I'll wash my hands because my parents taught me to be, with hygiene and this and that, and I think that's another problem. I really believe that it's not COVID that really amped it. It's just people are fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
People don't wash their hands when they take a piss. People don't wash their hands. They don't cover their mouth. They don't stay home when they're sick. They're nasty. And, I'm very protective. Like I said, if I have a sneeze, I'll put the mask on. I don't care. Or I'll cover my mouth. But, COVID didn't really affect me that hard because I still did my podcast. I still have people here, no problem. And, like you said, life goes on. Life has to move forward. You can't stay stuck in 2020 March. You have to keep going because, people, that's how people get sick. Yeah, I had a lot of people that did die of COVID. I know people that did. I have a friend of mine, her father passed away of COVID. My girlfriend's uncle had COVID. And then a couple of days later, he had passed away.
Was it? But see, what happens is too is like it's COVID, but you die of other because of complications from COVID. Like maybe you had high blood pressure, maybe you had diabetes.
He had was it
maybe you're a smoker.
He had to use like the breathing machine. He had sleep apnea. And it was really, really, really bad. Wow. And a lot of us think that that's why he choked in his sleep, and I think that's why he ended up passing away.
They were trying to get me to do that test, and what that test consists of is you go to the treatment center, you lay down in the bed, and they hook you up to that fucking machine, right? And I was like, hey man, I get to sleep here in the bed, right? Can I bring my wife? And they all started laughing at me and shit. Let me bring my wife with me, dude, so I can fucking go to sleep, dude. And I never went back though, but they wanted me to get the machine because I do snore. I'm overweight, so that has a lot to do with it. But last year, prior to the fucking COVID, I was losing a lot of weight, man. I had lost about 40 pounds, right? And then once the whole COVID thing started happening, a lot of the markets were you would have to stand in line, or there was no fucking chicken, nothing there, So that really has the only way COVID has affected me is with my diet, because even when I say, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna stop eating out, I'm gonna fucking start making salads and shit. When I go to the fucking market, there's a big old fucking line, dude. You know what I mean? So it's like, fuck it. I mean, it's just it sounds like an excuse, but really, dude, who the fuck wants to wait hours in line to get chicken? When I could just go buy a cheeseburger, and that's a problem because a cheeseburger is 99 cents, but a salad's about $8.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
it's always when I go to like Wendy's or something like that, it's like I can get the nuggets for cheap. I can get the nuggets and the burger and a large fry for cheaper than the salad, and it's like that's not going to help me either. Because I have the sleep apnea too. There's some times where I do wake up and I'm like, I catch myself choking.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh shit, was I choking for real? Or was it just a good dream? Because But they wanted me to do the test too, and I was like, nah, I don't feel comfortable doing that.
That usually happens with me when, let's say if I eat too much. Like yesterday, I ate some, there's a really good taco place over here that sells tacos al pastor. They have the fucking trompo and shit, right? And usually I go on Tuesdays because they're 99 cents. But I said to my wife, you know what? Let's go today, which is Thursday, yesterday. And usually I get about 8 of them, right? Which sounds like a lot, but they're little tiny ones. But usually when they're $1, when they're $1, they put a lot less meat. This time they put a lot of meat on it, right? So usually I can kill like 8 of them and I'll go to sleep and I'm fine. My blood pressure doesn't go high because they're pretty much it's like a rotisserie. They're rotisserie, so there's no oil involved, right? But last night, man, I woke up in the middle of the night because I fucking ate too much. Like it was going back up in my fucking esophagus, and because they put more meat on them because it's like it's normal price. It's not $1 taco, but besides that, only when I eat a lot is when I'll wake up all of a sudden,
Yeah. So I know on your podcast you do a lot of episodes talking about food, and I guess like you said, you love food.
Yeah. As you can see.
What are some good places in LA? Because I know you said that when you recommend something, that's on you, because you're like, I'm not going to give you a shitty place to go to. Yeah. You don't want to put your name through like that.
Yeah.
So what are some good places in LA that some of our listeners can go if they do decide to go, or if I want to go?
Yeah, like for tacos, like those al pastor. If you want al pastor tacos, it's called Jason's Tacos. And me and my wife did we did 2 episodes on that. We did like burgers, sandwiches, tacos, burritos, breakfast burritos, a bunch of different places. So for al pastor would be Jason's Tacos. And let's say for the asada, there really isn't too many good places. But my wife she likes a place called King Taco. That's what she likes. But there's also any place here that has, they're called Tijuana style tacos. And what that is, they're charbroiled tacos with mesquite wood. So it's a really, really good taco. They put guacamole on them. Really, really good. Another place that we like going to, let's say like for Chinese food, some place called, I think it's called Chinatown Express. It's really, really good. They know that we're Mexicans, so we like when they pile on all the food. You get like a 2-item combo, they can barely close the container. It's like barely they can barely close it. There's also a breakfast burrito place here. It's called Lucky Boys. It's in Pasadena, where they have a breakfast burrito, and the breakfast burrito consists of everything you would have on your plate for a breakfast. So it has eggs, it has cheese, it has bacon and hash browns all in a burrito. And these burritos have been made since the 1970s, and they have the burrito all day long, all the way up till they open till they close.
Wow.
So
Damn.
it's really, really good. Yeah. I know a lot of places, man. It just depends. And then for pizza, lately we've been eating a lot of a place called Baby Bros. And Baby Bros has it's like a big rectangle pizza. And it's
Okay.
really, really delicious. Yeah. Baby Bros. Really good pizza. What else? There's even there's a place called Kava if you want to eat healthy. I don't know if they have that chain over there, but it's you get a grain bowl, and I usually get braised lamb, and they have a
Hmm.
bunch of other like pickled vegetables, pickled onions, pickled chilies, and then they put hummus in there, different types of hummus. My wife discovered a hummus, and it's called a roasted pepper hummus. So she gets like 2 scoops of the roasted pepper hummus, and then the regular hummus, and then like we get lentils in there, all the pickled vegetables, and then in the end they have like a special yogurt. It's called tzatziki. So we get tzatziki and a green sauce, and it's delicious, man. It's about $15 with the drink, but it's really worth it because I talk about that where we want to go see the Cure. I don't know if your listeners are familiar with the Cure. It's a popular band from the 1980s, but they're still going. They had a festival over here, and it was in 2019. It was 2019. Me and my wife ate there, right? And because it was a really heavy meal, but it wasn't going to make you take a shit and be all bloated and stuff, right? So we ate
Yeah.
that, and we got to the festival around 1 o'clock, and just to be in the front. And the way I am for concerts, I go to the front. I'm not going to the
Same.
restroom. I'm not going anywhere. So we were there, and that sustained us for the whole time. We weren't hungry till we got out of the concert. So we got to see the Cure, the Pixies, the Deftones, all in the fucking front within 6 feet away, dude. It was
That's
really, really cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Over here, I love food too. Of course, you can see we're Mexican, so of course we love food.
Yeah.
Um, there's this taco truck that I've been going to since I was a kid. My parents go to. It's called El Taconazo, and I
Okay.
literally, dude, these tacos have been consistent ever since I was like 5 years old. I will go there when I'm like a little tipsy, and I get the quesadillas. They're not big quesadillas. They're just like the tacos with the meat, and they hit the spot. I get like 5 of them. They're like 250 a pop, and I'll
Yeah.
get like the charo beans. It's like really thick. They're really wide,
Yeah.
thick beans, and I'm like I'm good. I'm done. It's time to go home. But yeah, there's a lot of good food places here. It's Texas, so you got a lot of barbecue. You do get a lot of Chinese and Vietnamese around here in
Yeah.
Houston. There's a lot of Vietnamese places popping up. I love Vietnamese food. It's so good.
Yeah.
The spring rolls, the
So you
pho.
like pho?
Yeah, my girlfriend she does the pho. I
Okay.
do the fried rice, or I'll do what's it called, the vermicelli bowls.
Oh,
So I
okay.
like those too. I
Yeah.
love Chinese food too. All that Italian, of course Mexican and all that. I just eat. I like eating.
Yeah.
So that's my
Oh, you know
thing.
what? Speaking of Italian, dude, there's a really good place. It's called Mario's Italian Deli. It's in the city of Glendale. It's here in California. And that place has a bunch of Italian sandwiches, but these are like jumbo Italian sandwiches. The bread, they cut it down the middle. You know how a Big Mac has that middle piece?
Mm-hmm.
They do that so when you bite it, the meat doesn't go out of the sandwich, right? And
What?
the sandwich to get there is called an SOB. And now that I'm talking about it right now, I'm probably gonna get one tomorrow morning for lunch. But because I haven't been there in a while, and I took
Yeah.
my mom there, she loved it. Every single person I've taken there loves it. I had a coworker that was training me with the pest control, and I told him, "Hey, dude, let's go check out Mario's." And he really didn't want to go. He's like, "Nah, you know what? Let's go to Jack in the Box." I'm like, "Okay, you can go to Jack in the Box." So you want something? Nah, dude, I'm not hungry anymore. He's like, "Come on, dude." He's like, "All right, then we'll go to the sandwich spot." We went. He got hooked. He goes there all the time now. And the sandwich there is called a SOB. It's
SOB.
delicious, man.
What's in the SOB?
SOB, instead of being like turkey, it's actual chicken. So it's chicken, and the cool thing about there is they slice the meats just like there's a place called Jersey Mike's here where they slice the meats as you order the sandwich. So
Mm-hmm.
it's got chicken, some special. It's called like Sorpresano deli meats with it's kind of spiced, and they get like a mustard and a mayo and they mix it together, and it's a spread, and it tastes delicious, man. It's a really, and they put like a special like vinaigrette dressing. It's the best, dude. And if
Man,
you get extra meat, it's like $2 more, and also I get avocado on there. That
nice.
sandwich is really meant for two people, but I force myself to finish it because it's so good, you know. Or I have my wife order it too, and then she's not gonna finish it. She's real tiny, so she finishes half, and a couple hours later I'll finish the other half. That's a
that's what
strategy, you know.
that's what I do. That's what I do too.
Yeah,
She's like, I don't want. I'll eat it. Fuck it. I
yeah,
call myself the refrigerator. So like, just give it to me. Just give it to me.
yeah.
The closest thing we have to that is Subway.
Okay.
it's we don't
Oh,
have
dude, I
any.
hate Subway. I hate
We
Subway.
don't have any like Italian places like that. I mean, the closest thing is what um, Olive Garden, which is
Okay.
generic. Or there's this other one. I forgot what it's called. Carrabba. Is it Carrabba's? I think. I don't know. But we don't have like a little Italian places like that. The closest thing
Yeah.
we do have that's like kind of like that is this place. It's called Chicago's. They have like Italian pizzas. They got the Chicago deep dish pizza.
Oh, okay.
They got the sandwiches, the meatball marineros, and the pastas and all that. So I like going there. She likes going
Yeah.
there for the pizza, but I like getting like the pastas and shit like that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like the carbs.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, dude. But that place is really, really good. And there's a lot of places out here, dude, that do you ever use Yelp? Like
Yeah,
I found a
yeah.
lot of places on Yelp, dude. And like what I do is I'll look at the pictures, and whatever picture I keep seeing all the time, that means that's gonna be their seller, their best seller, and that's what I end up trying, you know.
hmm So what was
That's
that
why I do.
on your stories? I think a couple of days ago you had a cup, and then you had like a horn coming out of it. What was that?
Oh, that was delicious, man. I forgot to mention that. That's right now, that's my wife's favorite place to eat on the weekends. Every Saturday we go there, and it's called Birreria El Canelos, right?
Okay.
And so like Canelo the boxer, because this guy
Mhm.
looks like him, and all over the fucking truck, he's got a vinyl wrap. He's got Canelo, he's got fucking Marquez on there, all the boxers, right? But he looks like Canelo, but a little chubby.
Mhm.
And this dude, he's from Michoacan, and he's kind of redheaded too. And it's birria. My family's from Guadalajara, and that's the mecca for birria, you know. So I know what it's supposed to taste like because I grew up eating that, whether it be from my aunts making it or my mom making it. So this place is pretty darn close to it. It's Michoacan style in the sense that they don't really use too many spices. Where like if you get a Guadalajara style one, the caldo's gonna look the sauce and stuff, the broth is gonna look kind of more red and more tomatoey.
Mhm.
This is more like chili based, but just barely any chili. They kind of let the goat flavor speak for itself. It's kind of like when you have barbecue in some places where they slather with barbecue sauce, and
Yeah.
there's somewhere it's just a barbecue. The meat will speak for itself, right? So you order tacos, and they're about $2 a pop, right? Handmade tortilla. They press it, but it's a special type of masa. It's like a yellow kind of masa, and that
Okay.
masa they use something called cal, so it tastes a little different. So man, it tastes just like if you're in Mexico, because I've eaten beer in Mexico. This is the closest, and it's a little taco. I get the habanero sauce, like habanero chile. It
Mhm.
sounds spicy, but it's not that spicy. It's actually good. So what we do is I'll get about 5 tacos. It's a new strategy I do. I get 5 tacos, and the little cup you saw was called consomme, which is a broth, right?
Okay.
So I get 5 tacos. My wife gets about three. And I say, hey, let me have huesitos, which is bones. Let me have bones. So what happens is they'll give you whatever leftover bones that they picked, and they'll put that on top of your plate. A strategy my wife does is she'll eat all her tacos, maybe dip a couple of tacos into the broth so it hydrates it, and then she'll get the bones. When she's done, she'll put the bones in the stock that rehydrates the bone, and she'll pick all the good bits out of the bone, like the tendons and the little pieces of meat that taste the best because they're closer to the bone.
Yeah.
What I do, I save the bones till the end, but what I do is I'll eat 3 tacos, and then I'll get the broth. I'll get a taco, dip it into there, but I'll let all the meat of the taco fall into the. So I'll put the meat into the broth. So I'll eat it like a traditional birria with cilantro and onions and stuff. So that place is really delicious. So that's what that was. That was a piece of bone that I put in there. It was a big ass piece of bone, and it was delicious, man. And hopefully we can go there tomorrow. Last week we went there Saturday and Sunday, but we're there every single Saturday.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
see, that's what I was looking at because when I had my friends on here, they were talking about the birria tacos, and I was like, I don't know what that is because I've never had that before.
it's good,
So
man.
I was like, okay, I don't know, this is something new, but there is
Yeah,
this Netflix show. It was talking about like I guess tacos.
The Taco Chronicles.
Yeah,
That's a really
and
good show, man.
they were talking about it, and I was like, okay, so this is not some new trend that
Yeah.
just happened. This has been going on for a while, but
Yeah.
my I've never had my grandmother make, birria tacos, and my tias never made that either. So I don't know what it is, but we have a lot of these taco trucks that are popping up that are birria places, and I've been wanting to go because it looks good, but the grease doesn't agree with me sometimes.
What you might try, what a lot of ones that are popping up are the TJ style, which is mainly beef. It's a birria de res, which is beef, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get started, try that first because it's not as gamey, but the goat isn't gamey. It's only gamey when you get a bad goat. It does taste like goat because it's got its flavor, and that's what tastes good about it. But I would start off with the res, which is beef. Try that, you'll like it, and then go to the chivo, which is goat, and that's really really good, man. And the broth is really delicious, but you should try it. It's really really good. Albir Reyes is like the way that they prepare it, with the beef.
Yeah, I seen how they prepare it, and I was like, okay, that's cool. That's something I didn't know about. So and a lot of people will tell me about that.
Yeah, what part of Mexico is your family from?
We're from the border. We're border people. But my grandfather grew up in not in Brownsville, but in what's it called, Matamoros. So that's where my family's from. But nobody lives in Matamoros anymore. Everybody came over here because of how bad it is on the border.
Yeah.
So I still have a couple of tias that are over there, but I don't really see them as much. But yeah, we're from the border. We're all Matamoros and have family in Brownsville and stuff like that. So all my family's pretty much Texas, Mexico border people. So
hey, a geek question. What kind of mic is that you're using?
I'm using the Audio Technica 2020 AT 2020.
Is it a condenser or
it's a condenser microphone?
Oh, okay. Because I used to use condenser mics, but yours sounds good. Because usually when I was using the condensers, but it was condenser USBs, I kind of found that it picked up too many other noises, right? Mm-hmm. So I switched over to dynamic mics. But with the dynamic mic, you have to have it right in front of you.
Yeah.
So it picks up the sound. But these mics that I have, they're not handheld mics. I noticed yours is a handheld mic because if I was to do that with mine, you would hear a bunch of noises with me tapping the mic and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool that you can, it's more free, because you can move the mic around with your hand gestures and stuff like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been wanting to buy a stand for it because they don't really have like Audio Technica stands for it. So I hold it and I'm used to it. But because I have the Rodecaster, so I messed around with the dynamics of the sound and this and that. So for me, I like having it close because if I have it far away, you can't really hear me.
Oh yeah.
So and then of course I have brothers and I have a dog and my parents going back and forth. So I really like to block out the noise in the background and just have my voice more important.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I love these mics. I bought 3 more. I'm probably gonna buy 1 more just to have the whole.
Oh wow, to have all 4. Yeah, that Rodecaster. I put a post out where because I ended up buying something called a Pod Track 4, which does pretty much the same stuff. It's about $200. Some people got kind of sad because they thought I was like bagging on them and shit. Because buy this for $200 instead of buying the Rodecaster for 600. I could have bought it. I had the money to buy it, but I was like, you know what? Since I've been making music and producing music for about 2 years, so I don't really need that because the software that I use software that's it's beat making software. It's called FL Studio.
Yeah.
So I do it all in post processing, but if you don't have that, if you want to do it all in one shot, it's good to have the Rodecaster. I know some homeboy that uses it. It's called the Emo Brown Podcast. You should really check that podcast out.
I listened to a couple of his podcasts.
He's from the border too. He lives in San Diego, and they're really really good. What I like about them, the way I found them was I just looked up Mexican, and he came up. His called Emo Brown, the saddest Mexican, not Latino, not Latinx, Mexican, and that's what I liked about it. You know what I mean? And so I've listened to that, and that's what he uses. And hey, it's cool. His production, you start it up like mine does that too, where I can upload a song into it, and it'll be the intro, or whatever. I like doing that afterwards, but I might look into that a little more.
Yeah, I like it. My first startup, I had a Focusrite audio interface, and like I do music too as well. So I was like 50-50. I got this to do my podcast and I got this to do my music. So for a while it's only 2 plugins. So and I like having guests on my show, and I wanted more guests. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna get the Rodecaster. It was either between the Rodecaster or like the Zoom, and it had 6 mic inputs. and like 4 headphones or some shit like that.
It's like $100 less, but the Roadcaster's a lot better though.
Yeah. And then it's built solid. And I love it because then you can do like the little noises like, hey, yo, what the fuck? And stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I totally use all that stuff and I enjoy it. I'm almost done paying it off because I did payments because I was like, I wasn't just going to put $600.
Yeah, $600, dude.
But it's a huge investment. And I'm so glad I got it, you know, and I got other people hooked on to like doing podcasts because I produced a podcast. My girlfriend's cousin, she wanted to do a podcast. Yeah. So I helped her out and I used this thing and I had their files of like their music and their little noises and stuff like that. So I was like, you know, fuck it. If I also want to start producing more podcasts. Yeah. So I put a post out. I'm like, hey guys, if y'all want to do a podcast here in Houston, let me know. I have this machine. I can help you out, make a little money on the side.
Yeah.
Fuck it, you know? Yeah. I love this Rodecaster thing. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I was gonna get that. Like, you know what? I ended up getting this thing, but either way, it's really, really good because you have everything there. You know, your intro, your outro, sound bites. You can call people. Like mine has that too, where I can call people. You can actually take calls on it. It's pretty cool.
And you just bought the machine, it was right? It was $200.
Yeah, like $200 to something. And then I ended up buying like 3 mics for like $40. It's a whole new setup that I have now. Before I was just using my computer and some USB mics, and usually you could only plug in like 2 USB mics, but there was some software that was allowing me to hook up like 4 or 5 USB mics, right? But my computer, I guess it was like fucking overworking, so sometimes some of the parts would cut out, you know. So I was like, fuck this, you know, I'm just gonna get something that's dedicated specifically for podcasting, and that was one of the options, and I went with that. But yeah, the podcast is cool too. I mean, what you're using, the Rodecaster.
Yeah, I had told my cousin I have him on the show, and he wants to start a podcast, and I referred him to the Zoom because if you've heard of reverb.com.
Yeah.
Well, they have like this package. I think it's like 2 microphones, 2 headphones, the cables, and something else with the Zoom for like $350 or something like that. I don't remember.
That's good.
And I was like, dude, you should fucking jump on that shit because
which Zoom is it?
It's the same one you have.
Yeah, that one's good. You got to make sure it's a podcaster because it's specifically for that.
Yeah.
And it has like four little buttons so where you can put sounds and shit like that too.
And I looked at the reviews on that and I was like, man, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And I was funny because I saw your post when you were talking about like the Zoom and the podcast and the Rodecaster, and I was like, hey, to each their own. If it works for you, that's cool, you know. And it's funny because I follow this page that just talks just about Rodecasters and stuff like that. Because for a while I was just doing audio, and a lot of people were like, when are you gonna do video? When are you gonna do video? You know. And I was like, I don't want nobody seeing my fucking face. Everybody just my face is not the thing. It's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I kind of gave in. I was like, okay, yeah, we'll do video. So I was trying to find a way to hook this up to like an iPad or something like that, but it just wasn't working. So what I do now is I record from my tablet, and then I record from my Rodecaster, and then when I go into my iMovie on my MacBook, I sync up the audio with the video, and then it's like, nothing, you know. But it takes a lot more time because with my podcast, I edit the stuff out, you know, and then it's like, well, I got more shit to do now because I got to do video. So, but it's all part of the thing, you know.
What do you use for music? GarageBand or? I use
GarageBand. GarageBand. I know it's kind of like entry level, but it works.
It still works. It works.
Yeah. So, so now that we're talking about music, I know that you brought up a lot of The Cure and the Smiths, and a lot of people didn't listen to your episode. I mean, my fault, my listeners. So you grew up in the 80s. You liked a lot of like I guess we can call it like alternative.
That's what they call it. Yeah.
So what turned you on to that kind of music?
Luckily, because when growing up, all my neighbors, they were onto like the fucking like gangster rap and fucking funk and oldies and shit, right? But luckily, my uncle, my tío Beto, he's the one who got me into it because he was into that music. He was from Guadalajara. That's where he was born. But he was, I guess, himself, because he's supposed to be into romantica music and Spanish and shit like that, but he was into he was even into Iron Maiden. He was into fucking The Cure, The Doors, all that stuff, and whenever a new CD would come out, he would record it for me and bring me the tape. He'd put the names of it, and also even like VHS, like the Cure VHS that would come out, he'd record it for me, and I would have all the latest shit that was coming out. You know, even with rock en español, I'm a real rock en español fan. I like the Caifanes. He would always record all that shit for me. So that's how I got into the music. But if it wasn't for him, I think I would have been into, like, I would just been a regular person and been into whatever the fuck was on the on the radio, whatever my neighbors liked. You know.
Mm-hmm. What was it? You were saying like the whole oldies thing is that like still like a big thing in like the LA scene? Because I know
it is.
a lot of people are just like the oldies, the oldies, the oldies. And there was this thing that came out last year. It was Tecate. They were doing like this thing. I forgot who was the group they were doing a tribute for, but it was like an oldies group. And I was like, damn, I guess the oldies music is still like a huge impact in like the LA culture scene, you know? Because I know you still got Little Riders, and you know, you still do all the Sunday drives and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really a big thing still there, right?
It's really a big thing. And there's also new bands that sound like that, like soul. There's one called like the Midnighters. There's a bunch of other bands. The Sinceres. Those are all bands that sound just like if you were in the fucking 50s, late 50s, early 60s, that sound like that. They even use like old amps, old microphones, and they have the old school sound. A lot of people listen to that. It's like new soul, you know. It would be called neo soul. It's like whatever, like you know, like if there's rockabilly music, the newer rockabilly music is called neo rockabilly or neo psychobilly because it's new.
Okay. Yeah. My grandpa grew up with like the oldies music and the whole 50s and stuff like that. And he loved music too. And that's why I wanted to have you on my show, because you talked about your grandpa too. And that he loved music, and he had his radio. He would have it right next to him. My grandpa would be the same way. Whenever we would go to my grandparents' house, he would either be in his room listening to music, he would be in the garage listening to music, he would be in the living room listening to music, or he'd be out there drinking with his buddy, listening to music. So music was a big part of his life. And I guess that's what helped him during like when he's growing up, because my great grandparents used to travel around the country, and they would pick, you know, fruit or whatever they were hired to do. And I think this music was just a part that made he loved music. He was also in a group too, you know, and I guess his love of music transferred to me because he is the one that first bought me a guitar.
Oh wow!
And I was like, oh, what is this? And he bought it at this little place we have here called Fiesta, and it's like a Mexican store. So they you walk in, and before you walk in, they have like a little market. So they sell like dresses and toys and guitars and stuff like that. So he bought me one, and I was like 10 years old, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what to do with it, but I was like, okay, this is something that's gonna be a big impact in my life. And I ended up picking up the guitar, and I could see like the joy in his face. He was like, oh shit, you know, I finally have somebody else who I can talk to music with.
Yeah.
And he listened to the music to the day he died. And it was funny because it was like, it sucks because I wish I would have had him on my podcast, or I wish I would have talked more music with him or showed him more music.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot of stuff that out now that still sounds like shit he would have listened to growing up. But you know, that's what I connected with you when you were talking about your grandpa, and I got teared up because I was like, he passed away about 5 years ago, and it was like, fuck, dude. I was at work and I was like, fuck, he's gonna make me cry, man. Like, I don't want to cry, but luckily nobody's in the truck with me. But that's what like I said, I had that connection with you because I was like, that's the same way I feel about my grandpa, and that's the same thing way he was too, you know. And but yeah, so you grew up with all those kinds of music, you know, like The Cure and stuff like that too. It's funny you talk about rock en español. I don't really like rock en español. I don't know why. It's just my thing. Like you said with Maná, I can't stand Maná. I can't. I was in a Spanish rock band.
Yeah.
And every time I would mention it, and like, oh, y'all like Maná? And I was like, fuck, no, we're not like Maná. You know. The guys liked Maná, but their music wasn't. It was more kind of like alternative 90s kind of, but it still was in Spanish.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I'm not a real big rock en español. It's just me, you know.
Yeah.
But whoever likes it, I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
send me some stuff. Maybe I might be into it, you know.
Yeah. Like that band I mentioned, Caifanes. They're kind of like the Mexican Cure. Like for the first couple CDs, and they got their own image later. But
Mm-hmm.
if they look the same hairstyle, the look, the sound was the same, and then they developed into their own. But that's like my favorite rock en español band because it's not like the others. Like Maná, to me is not even rock en español. It's just tropical music.
Yeah, it's
I can't
tropical.
stand that shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
me
the
neither.
drummer's acting like he's playing like some fucking death metal. He's like twirling the sticks around and shit. Like, you ain't doing nothing, man.
I can't stand it either. I'm just like, I think the only song that I like that's kind of like that features the lead singer is the one he did with Santana. So that's the only thing. Yeah, I was like, that's the only thing I might like from you guys. Everything else I don't like.
Yeah.
So pretty much your uncle gave you like all the hookups. So he was like the plug for you pretty much.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And did you turn any of your friends onto like the whole scene too and all that? Or was it just everybody was kind of like, hey, dude,
not really the scene, but this episode that's gonna come out on Sunday at midnight that I'm gonna drop is my neighbor Nando, and he speaks about that. You know how me being into something different, like he called it taboo, which was like Rage Against the Machine and Rage and Black Sabbath, and he saw his brothers were into the gang stuff, my neighbors were into that, and he saw that, and then he saw me. It's like, oh shit, like what do I do? Do I go to this? Do I go to that? But wait a minute, this guy likes this cool music that no one else likes, and let me check that out. And that really, he said that really helped him in his life. Like music changed him, saved his life, and it helps him. He's like, something as little as music can change your life. You know, it sounds crazy to people, but he knows that I understand it because they did the same thing for me. You know, and he speaks about it, dude, and like he's like really like open about it too. Like, hey, thank you very much, Jose, for introducing me into that. And he's like, you know what, people have heroes. Kobe, this and that. He's like, but right now I have this motherfucker in front of me, Jose Ramos, and I'm lucky that I met him and he taught me all this shit. And I said, hey, thank you, you know, because it takes a lot for another man to acknowledge that's another man made an impact on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, thanks, man. You know, I wasn't trying to, but I'm happy that it helped you. You know?
Yeah, I totally understand it. And I'm the same way. My cousins and all that were listening to like hip hop. You know, where it's 2000, so you had like Ludacris and 50 Cent and all these people, you know. And me, I liked rock. I like punk rock. I like pop rock. I liked all this kind of emo stuff.
Yeah.
And I was different. I had my cousins, well, not all my cousins, but one of my cousins would make fun of me. He was like, "Oh, you're emo. You're gonna cut yourself, and you know you wear black and this and that." I did wear black, so that's kind of on me. But I liked music. It connected with me, and it didn't make me sad. I understood their pain. And, you know, growing up, you get bullied and people talk shit about you. And I felt that way. You know, I never hurt myself, but I just enjoyed the music. I just loved it. And I still do now. I post on my page sometimes emo nights. I go to emo nights and they'll play like old school stuff from like 2000s and 90s and Blink 182 and all that. It's not emo, but they call it, you know, it's just emo night. They include everything. And I always have a blast. I lose my voice. I get sweaty. I fall a couple times. I've gotten hit a lot too. I had one girl like straight punch me in the chest because she was just like full of adrenaline. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? What was that for? She's like, I don't know. I'm just so fucking pumped. And then I never saw her again. And I'm like, oh, fuck, that hurt, bro. Fuck, you know? But I've gotten hit, you know, not purposely, but, you know, when you're in the pit, you get hit in the eye and stuff like that. But I enjoy it. But to my cousins, it was weird. It was, like you said, taboo. They were like, you're not supposed to like that stuff. You're supposed to like this. You're supposed to like, what's it called? Well, I like cumbia and I like the music. That's what I grew up with. But they were listening to like bachata and reggaeton. There's like, you're supposed to like this because you're Hispanic. And I'm like, nah, dude, it just doesn't vibe with me. You know, I don't like it. It's not my thing. So, you know, I totally agree with being like an outsider.
Yeah. So what'd you think about the songs added to the playlist? Did you listen to them?
Oh, they were good. I was like, oh, hell yes. I like this. I like that kind of shit. It's just so like your music that you were talking about. It's different, but it's like modern in a way, but it takes you back. You feel like you're going to like 1985 for a minute. And I like that shit. I like listening to new things. And I was like, damn, Jose's coming up with the hits, you know? Have you seen any of those groups like live before?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Damn, that's nice. So your band, Death Blow? Is that correct?
It's just me. It's just me.
It's
But
just you, right?
yeah. But eventually, I wanna do some performances with my son, because he can play the bass, he can play the guitar, he can play keyboards. So,
Nice.
and with that kind of music, it's like you can leave out a bass part and have my son play it, leave
Mhm.
out a keyboard part and he'll play it, and then I'll just be singing. So I have like 30 something songs. I don't know if you had a chance to check out the SoundCloud, but I got a lot of music on there.
I haven't yet, but I'm
Yeah,
going
yeah.
to.
Yeah.
So,
Or if you go to the Instagram, Deathblow1, I have a lot of music on there too.
so how long have you been doing music? I know you kind of said that you've been doing it since you were a kid, right?
Since I was a kid, but like actually recording it and actually making songs for about 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of like I guess encouraged you to like start making music? Were you just like, I have all these ideas, I need to put them into like some kind of like,
I originally I set up like about like a little studio for my son. I set up a little studio like we have like a little dining room area. I told my wife, hey, we don't ever eat on the fucking dining room table. Let me take that shit down. So I took it down and I put up like those little sound pads. It's behind me, but I'm covering it with the flag right now. But I put those
Mhm.
sound proofings, and I set up bought on the laptop, fucking speakers and all that shit. So, and it's for my son, but I started using it too. And my son was making like trap beats and hip hop beats, but he can also make the music that I make, like dark wave and all that. He has the ear for all that stuff, and rockabilly, psychobilly. So it was mainly for him, but then like fuck, I'm gonna use it too. Whenever he's not using it, I'll use it. And I started making music myself too as well.
So are you and your son the only musical people in your family, or do you have others that are
No,
musical?
my brother too. Prior to this, maybe like 5 years ago, we were practicing. We made like a little psychobilly band called American Psychobilly. We called it 1,000 Cats, and we were jamming, and we actually had a couple covers and a couple original songs, but we were supposed to play at one of my friend's house. But in the end, he kind of like never got back to me, so we stopped practicing and stuff. But we actually got really really good, man. And I would play the drums, my son would play the guitar, and my brother would play the stand-up bass.
Nice. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's cool, man. It was fun. So, but even before that, we would play music like. But my son, he really picked it up within like I guess in the summer, he just picked it up. But it was like 15. He just like that summer, he just learned how to fucking play guitar, and he's really really good. He's better than me, dude. I've been trying to play my whole life, and he's better than me. He's better than my son, and I'm gonna be honest, dude. He's better than most of the Californian guitarists that are in
Really?
psychobilly bands. He's better than yeah, dude. Because he has music influences from everything. Because I listen to everything, right? So from dark wave to ska to he has all these influences. Like we'd be listening to music, we'd come home, he'd fucking figure the song out, dude. From just hearing it in the car, we'd come home and he'd fucking figure the song out.
I, I
So
I like that shit. I can do that too. I have my ear for some reason. I can pick up on like certain keys, and then I'll put them together, and I'm like, oh, well, that was simple. And I have friends that are
yeah,
like, how'd you do that? And I was like, I don't know. I just listened to it, and put it in my head, and I was like, yeah, there it goes.
yeah. Are you familiar with like hollow body guitars and like Gretsch guitars?
Yes, I love hollow body. I don't own one yet,
Yeah, yeah,
but my main thing is just my Squire. I like using Squires, but I do want to get a Gretsch. I have one in mind, but I'm
yeah,
just trying to save some. I can buy it if I want
yeah,
to,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's like Gretsch or phone bill or
Yeah, and then
or
too with those guitars, you got to be real careful. You got to make sure you have a
yeah.
case because they're hollow bodies. But I've had a couple over the years. I've had about 5 or 6 over the years. I buy them, sell them. But I ended up finding him one. It's an orange one, and I changed the pickups on it. I put filtertrons. Filtertrons are what they come in like the deluxe higher end models. So I hooked his guitar up. His guitar, he's got a badass tone in that guitar too. So he has that Gretsch. He knows how to play really good. I have a couple of Telecasters that I built. I bought the planks and I put the necks on and rewired them. So I do all that too.
Nice, that's
Yeah,
cool. I used to have one, but I needed the money, so I had
yeah,
to sell it. But it went to somebody who uses it, so I'm like,
yeah,
at least it got a good home and someone using it. So,
yeah,
but I was like always wanted, I wanted new guitars, and my girlfriend was like, "You got another guitar?" And I was like, "It was only $30. I got it
yeah.
offline from somebody."
Oh, that's good.
And but I would end up like giving it to somebody. He's like,
Yeah,
"Here, go ahead, learn it." So
yeah. Like I would say like in not last year, but the year before that, I was doing a lot of buying and selling of guitars. I made a lot of money and I saved it up. Just I would just buy them, fix them up, sell them, And man, I had tons of guitars. And then at one point, I just only had like one guitar. I have like about 4 basses, like electric basses. I
Mhm.
got two stand-up basses. But the stand-up basses, we play them every once in a while. We live in an apartment, so we really can't play that loud because they
Okay.
rumble a lot, you know.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I have a bass that I was given to borrow, but then I just never gave it back,
Yeah,
and it's somewhere here. But I play guitar. That's my main thing.
yeah,
But when I started joining bands, they were like, "Oh, we need a bass player." So I was like, "Okay, I'll play bass, whatever."
yeah,
But I got really good at it to the point where I think a lot of the guys in the band got jealous. And I'm
yeah,
just saying this is from my perspective.
yeah,
It got to a point where they got jealous to where they're like, hey, he's fucking good. Or me, I like putting input. If I see something that I know can take off, I'm gonna put my opinion.
yeah,
The rock Spanish band that I was in, they were like, well, we need to get more exposure. So I was like, fuck it, I'll book you a show. Hey, let's do music videos. I know we don't have like high quality cameras, but we can do certain angles and I can edit the videos and stuff like that. Or hey, let's try to get people on our Facebook. I was exposing them, trying to get them out.
yeah,
And I don't think they like that. They wanted to stay kind of in their little huddle. And I'm like, no, dude, if you want people to know about your music, you got to be out there. The lead singer had been doing like the same song for 10 years. He had other songs, but he would strictly just go to the recording and just do one song. And I'm like, dude, you're never gonna eat. I've been out of that band since what, 2016? It's like 5 years. I haven't even put out an album yet. And I had a bad outing with them because I was not feeling it anymore, but I was still putting in my 100%.
yeah,
With a lead singer, he called me and he was like, hey man, we're gonna have practice, so bring the bass amp. I was like, okay, cool. So I show up to his parents' house because that's where we practiced.
yeah,
And I was like, hey man, where's everybody else at? He was like, oh, they couldn't show up. So I was like, oh, okay. But in the back of my mind, I was like, something ain't right. But I was like, whatever, no, don't stop talking. So he was like, yeah, can you leave the bass amp here? Because, you know, I got to practice with something. I'm doing a recording for one of the other songs. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, cool. So this was after like a show. This was like a week after a show we did. And for some reason, I felt weird like the next day. And I was like, I think I just got kicked out of this band.
mm-hmm.
And I went to log into our Facebook because I was doing the whole social media stuff.
Yeah.
They changed all the passwords. They changed the password to the Facebook, to the Instagram, to this I forgot what the name it was, but it was like a band thing, I guess, to put like your bio out there. They changed all that. And I was like, yeah, I'm out of this band. So they contacted me 4 months later. Hey, we decided that we are going to move forward without you. I'm like, motherfuckers, I already knew that the second day, you know. I was like, fuck y'all, I don't need y'all.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I played bass a lot in a lot of groups, but I love playing guitar because this is my thing. But if I have to play bass, I have to play bass. So
yeah. Like I'm not the best at it, but I play good enough to make songs and stuff, you know, put them together and stuff.
Yeah, I need to get back into my music. It's been a while. It's because I'm so busy with my podcast and then, you know, my personal life with my girlfriend and then hanging out with friends and stuff like that. I never have time. And then I don't have the space to just practice my guitar. I just have my acoustic, but even then I like hooking up my bass amps or my guitar amps and my pedals and stuff like that, just jamming out, but I just don't have that room anymore. So it kind of sucks, but hopefully when I get to move out, I'll be able to just play my shit again.
Yeah.
So I noticed you got that star on your hat.
Yeah.
Are you a huge Cowboys fan?
Yeah, dude. Since I was a little kid. Yeah, I was like 12.
So here in Texas, now I'm just joking. Yeah, dude. Since we're in Houston, a lot of people are not.
They're Texans fans?
Well, they are. I used to be a Texans fan, but the way the team is acting and just their shitty quality, the whole thing, I ended up switching to the Eagles. So I'm an Eagles fan now. And it's funny because it's like my cousin Josh, shout out to him. He's a big Cowboys fan. Him and my tío, they're Cowboys fans. And I always joke with him and I start roasting him. And I'm like, man, fuck y'all. You haven't won a championship in 25 years. I was like, dude, we're older than that.
Yeah.
And we just start roasting each other and this and that. So, you know, me being with the Texans fan, you know, you had that what's it called? That internal
rivalry.
Yeah, rivalry. Even though they're not even the same division, but you just have it because one's in Dallas, one's in Houston. I've seen a lot of fights. I've seen people get fucked up because they're wearing a Cowboys jersey.
Wow.
And it's funny, but it's like, yo, chill out. You know, it's calm down. But he was like, you motherfucker. He's like, you went from being a Texans fan to Eagles fan, and the fucking Cowboys fans hate Eagles fan. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, whatever, dude. So, you know, but I like ripping with my cousins, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, what other sports do you like? And it's just football.
I love boxing.
Boxing. Who's your favorite boxer?
Favorite boxer? You know what? It was I used to like Adrian Broner a lot. You know who Adrian Broner is?
Yeah, I know who he is.
Adrian Broner. I used to like him a lot. I just saw him fight last weekend. It was terrible, man. It looks like he lost the fire, man. It looks like he really didn't have any money because at the end they're like, oh, so how'd it go? Like, man, I only had $13 in my name, man. Now I got 13 million. And you could tell because those guys, you know, they get that lineup, they don't really have a hairline, so they have to line it up. He didn't have a lineup. It was all like messed up, you know? So I believe it. He didn't have money, man. And when he did have money, he had a bunch of friends and stuff like that. But there's a boxer named Maidana, Marcos Maidana. He's an Argentinian guy. He beat him bad. And ever since that happened, his career went down, man.
Really?
Yeah. And Marcos Maidana, he ended up fighting Mayweather. Some say he won the first fight. It was pretty close. The second fight, he didn't win it, but the first fight, it was pretty close. And so that guy was a really, really good fighter. He retired, man. He's got millions of dollars. He lives in Argentina now. And he's balling.
Nice.
Yeah, I like Adrian Broner. I kind of stopped liking Canelo because he's lost a couple fights where they gave it to him. Like there's a fool that he fought called Erislandy Lara, and that fight he clearly lost it. He lost that fight, dude. But they gave it to him, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's been winning, and then he fought some Russian dude. They call him the Crusher. And it was all fake, man. Like Canelo hit him and that fool fucking falls. Just like WWE, dude. He fucking fell and he was like hanging on the fucking ropes like this. It was crazy, man. But yeah, Canelo's good too. But mainly all the fighters that I like, they kind of retired or stopped boxing. But I like watching it no matter what. There's also some dude named they call him the Matrix. His name is what the hell's his name, man? Can't think of his name right now, but he's a Romanian fighter. He's really, really good. He just got beat recently by some dude. He took him to school, dude. Everyone thought it was gonna be a tough fight, but he took him to school, man.
Damn. Yeah, boxing's been part of my life too. Since we were growing up, there was I don't know what it is, but like boxing matches in like the mid to late 90s were always just lit. Yeah. Sorry, I used that word.
No, that's cool. It's cool. You're in your 20s. That's, you know,
they were just something to watch, you know. And my parents would always have the fight on. They would get the pay-per-view, and my tias and all my cousins, we would come here and they would watch the fight. I remember growing up, that was like a big thing. So but we've always watched boxing. I love boxing. You know, I grew up watching De La Hoya.
And, I was a De La Hoya fan
too, you know. So I haven't been watching a lot of boxing lately. There's a lot of UFC and stuff like that. Because you know,
I watch that too. Because I watch all that stuff for free. I have something that I have where I pay like, I think it's like $15 for like 3 months, and I get to watch all that shit for free. Through my Fire Stick. So Canelo's gonna fight tomorrow. The guy who's gonna fight is pretty good. He's a little bit bigger than him. He's like going up in weights and shit.
Yeah, I didn't know he was fighting. I guess I've been out, but I love sports. I like watching all kinds of sports: baseball, basketball. Are you a Lakers fan or are you a Clippers fan?
Yeah, I'm a Lakers fan, but I'm not like hardcore like I used to be. I used to watch it a lot, and because over here, what they did to us is they took it away from the TV. You have to have something, I think it's called Time Warner, which is like a special cable company in order to watch the games. That's the only way you can watch them. They took them out of TV.
Oh, okay. So it's like a special thing. Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
We used to have Time Warner. We don't have that anymore. It's kind of like Comcast, I think is what it's called over here.
Yeah. They buy, the company's always buying each other out.
But so did you have like a favorite player as when you were a Lakers fan, or were you like just straight Kobe?
Well, I grew up, I mean, Kobe was good, but I grew up like watching like Magic, Sadeo 3. Vladi Divac, all the old school fools from the 80s and stuff. Yeah, that's what I used to like. Yeah.
So of course you're a Cowboys fan. Baseball? Do you like baseball?
No, I don't like baseball.
No.
I can't watch it. It's too boring. I'll play it, but I don't like it's boring, man. I try watching, and dude, I wish I was a baseball fan because the stadium is like 10 minutes from my house, dude, for the
Dodger
Dodgers.
Stadium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons why I don't like Dodger Stadium either is because of what happened back in the, I believe it was the 40s or 50s, where they kicked out. There was a bunch of Mexican families there. They kicked them out of there in order to make the stadium. And the messed up thing is they call a part of the stadium where those homes once were, they call them that. I can't think of the fucking name now.
You know, a lot of people don't
but
know about that. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't know about that history about them kicking out all those Mexicans that were living there. And
Chavez Ravine.
Chavez Ravine. I learned about that when I was young.
Sadly, they built it over and they call that section of the stadium a Chavez Ravine. That's a fucking joke.
That's
You know,
like
they
a
kicked
slap
them
in
out.
their face.
Yeah, they were carrying women from their legs and their arms out of the fucking properties. You know, they tore it down to build that stadium. So that's why I don't really get behind it, you know, because of that also as well.
Yeah, no, like I said, I learned about that when I was really young, and I was like, that's fucked up.
Mhm.
That, you know, from moving the team from where they were from, New York, and then I guess LA was like, fuck it, we're gonna do everything as possible to get this team and get this stadium built. So they ran off the Mexicans and kicked them out, and then built a stadium. And it's like, hey, just for a little reminder, we're just gonna call it this. That's
dude.
bullshit, you know.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
I don't like Dodgers. I hate the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I used to like them growing up because of the history and this and that, but a lot of shit.
Valenzuela, yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite baseball player, the Dodgers. But with the whole Astros cheating scandal and this and that, and a lot of the Dodgers fans hating us and shit, I'm just like, you know what? Fuck y'all, man. I don't give a fuck. You know, it's funny because I'll go back and forth with a lot of Dodgers fans, and I'm like, what are y'all gonna do? You know, but I love baseball. Whenever baseball season starts, I usually go to a lot of the Astros games, or I'll take my dad with me, or I'll take my cousin, and I'll go and I just sit there and I just love sitting in the stadium and I get there early. I get there like 2-3 hours early.
Oh shit!
And they'll open it up, and the guys are doing batting practice, so they're hitting the baseballs and stuff like that. So I'll try to get one, and I'll just go sit in my spot or somewhere in center field, and I watch the game. I love it. I enjoy it. I am not that good at it playing, but I grew up with baseball. My dad loved baseball. My grandpa loved baseball, and I have great memories with the Astros and stuff like that. So baseball's my thing, and of course with basketball with the Rockets and stuff like that too.
Like over here, we have the Angels, but they call themselves Los Angeles Angels. they're not LA. They're Orange County.
Yeah, they're
mainly that town is mainly like all white people. But with that other show I was telling you about, the Emo Brown, they're from San Diego. Mm-hmm. So the homeboy Shamps, he was saying like, yeah, man, props to the Dodgers, you know, and we have a lot of Dodger fans that listen to us. And, you know, what kid doesn't want to grow up and play a 60 game fucking World Series, win a 60 game World Series, you know? He was like, kind of like talking shit, you know? It was only 60 games, you know? Just like with the Lakers, there was only a couple games. It wasn't really like a main fucking season, you know?
Yeah, it's funny.
But everybody over here was all happy. They're fucking shit up, you know? Which I don't fucking understand why the fuck you would want to cause a fucking riot if your team just won. But
we didn't understand it either, because a lot of us here in Houston were like, the fuck, y'all, what the fuck are y'all doing? Y'all rioting or you know, happy marching, whatever they want to call it. And I'm like, yo, no, that's not how you do it. When the Astros won here, literally the whole city was just flooded with people, and the city's pretty big. It took me like 2 hours to get. No, I got out of the city within 30 minutes, and it's not that. It's like 5 minutes to get out of the city, but everybody and their grandma and their baby mama and then priest and everybody was out there just celebrating in the streets. Everybody was getting drunk, and I was like, "Fuck, I want to go do that, but I can't because, you know, traffic." But we have this thing called the light rail, so I could have jumped on it, but I was like, "Nah, it's cool. I'll just go party with my girlfriend and just get drunk here." But I could have got drunk with all these friends, but whatever. But yeah, it's funny. We have this weird rivalry with LA, even though we shouldn't, but a lot of people hate us over here, and we're just like, fuck yeah, whatever, you know. That's funny.
A lot of people were saying fuck the Astros around that time, I remember.
There's this chick I bought some stickers off of. She's from LA, and all she has is like Dodger stuff and most of that. And she had this little pin that said the 2017 cheaters, the World Series cheaters or something like that. And I was gonna say something, but I was like, you know what? Nah, I'm all right. I did buy some stickers off of her. She had some Selena stuff, and
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'll support you. You know, you're Latino or Hispanic or whatever. It's like I'm gonna support, even if you're from another state. I got you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's cool.
So Jose, it's that part of the show where we do unpopular opinions. So since you are a guest, if you have any unpopular opinions, let them loose.
Like how? Like just
So pretty much like how I did on my stories on Instagram, I put Pico de Gallo was trash, and a lot of people because agreed. So I say stuff that's like unpopular, like I said, like reggaeton is trash, or so and so is this, or something like that. So that's what it's called, an unpopular opinion. So pretty much, you say something that a lot of people don't agree with, but you know that it's true. So,
oh fuck, maybe just like I don't agree with I guess everyone's getting the COVID vaccine, you know, like, and
that's
I disagree with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a totally unpopular opinion.
Yeah. So yeah, because even like with my coworkers, we had a meeting and they're like, yeah, we want to make sure it's mandatory. Who wants to get it? And then we were like on a Zoom call kind of, and one of the main bosses was there, right? But even though he's there, I didn't care. I spoke with man. I'm like, look, you guys can get it, and then once you guys become zombies, I'll get the vaccine, you know, or whatever. I don't know whether to take it or not. And that main dude is like, you know what? I agree with Jose. Jose is right. I'm gonna wait till everybody, you know, takes it. Yeah, I guess that would be one of them. You know, I totally disagree with that, with the whole vaccination stuff. I don't want to get vaccinated at all.
They were talking about that at work, where they made the nurses mandatory for them to get the vaccine. And there's this white guy. I can't stand him. I mean, he's okay, but all he does when he walks in is talk about Trump. Trump, you know, got a hand arrested or whatever. Trump this and that. I'm like, dude, the dude's not even in office anymore, dude. You can stop talking about him. Take his dick out of your mouth already, you know?
Is he like anti-Trump or what?
He's like, I guess so, but what
he's one of those ones that wanna be cool with us. Like, oh yeah, I hate Trump too, so I'm cool.
But I work with a lot of negros, so you know they were against all that. So he tries to, like, I guess I know what he's doing. Everybody else knows. He's trying to be like, oh, Trump this and that, and they're like, yeah, fuck Trump this and blah blah. And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. Nobody fucking cares. And I have coworkers where they'll talk about it, and I'll tell them straight up, hey, yeah, cut that shit out, bro. He's not even president anymore. You got the guy that you wanted. So, you know, just shut the fuck up, sit down, and just stop talking about Trump. You know, because he's living rent free in your mind.
Yeah.
That's it. And then it just makes you more mad, and you keep talking around. But that's what the media wants.
Yeah,
because the media don't have nobody to target anymore. So now it's like, well, let's keep them talking about Trump, but let's also target these Republicans too, because it's like we don't got nobody else who to fuck with. We're just gonna fuck with all these other little Republicans and shit like that too. But they don't see it that way.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, but like they did with Ted Cruz. And I thought that was funny. I was actually going to speak up against that, but I didn't get to because my internet was kind of shoddy with all the towers here. Yeah. But I don't blame Ted Cruz. Shit, I would have left. It was fucking cold too. I would have been like, shit, I'm going to Cancun. I'll see y'all in a couple of days. Yeah. But I guess people say that because he's a representative of Texas, and it looks bad for him to go, you know, when everyone else is struggling. I'm like, dude. Nobody gives a fuck about Ted Cruz until Ted Cruz does something. If he fucking, you know, leaves trash on the floor, they're talking shit about him. But after that, they're done crucifying him. They forget about Ted Cruz. But it's like, it's dumb. I did not agree with it. But I'm like, fuck it. Y'all would leave too. I would leave to Cancun. I don't give a fuck, dude.
Anybody would,
Yeah. So that's my unpopular opinion. I think that what Ted Cruz did was, that's his choice. You know, hey, fuck it. Go to Cancun. I would go to Cancun too.
Yeah. Hell, those memes, they had the memes with him with like his hair braided and shit.
Yeah.
Went to Cancun,
But everyone was still talking about it. And it's my thing is, and I've talked about this, I think, on the podcast, and I talked about this with my girlfriend. My podcast page on Instagram is strictly my podcast stuff. yes, I'll talk about my sports or my music and whatnot, maybe a little bit of politics, but I have a lot of friends who use their platform to push their agenda. The whole BLM and the whole left and Biden and this and that. And then a lot of these people are local shops and businesses. And I'm like, that looks bad because you want to gain business instead of lose it, and then my friends. And I'm like, I'm not going to like turn my back on you guys, but like, I don't agree with what you guys are doing. And like I said, it looks bad on them. And I told myself and I told people, I think I did a video. I was like, hey, look, if you ever see me do crap like that, call me out, because my page is strictly just about my podcast. I'm not trying to push my agenda. I'm not trying to make you a conservative or, a MAGA person or whatever they want to fucking call me. Yeah. So, I don't agree with that. And I don't like doing that on my shit.
Yeah.
And I know you don't want to do that. You don't want to push your agenda, but you put it out there because it's like, it's facts.
Yeah, it's facts. Yeah, but I kind of stopped because really it's not worth it, because people, there's only a small percentage that is really going to listen and do the research, and the rest don't care, man. They just want to keep doing the same shit over and over. They want to be followers. So I kind of stopped doing it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the podcast I'll continue, but as far as like on my page, I kind of stopped, I'm just hurting myself,
Yeah. And like I said, you don't want to lose followers. You want to gain.
Yeah.
So, do you have another unpopular opinion that you have? It could be about anything. It could be about food. It could be about music. It could be about entertainment, whatever.
Yeah. Like all this, like this people that try to say act like they're vegans and shit. Oh, I'm vegan this, and they fucking want to tell everybody that they're vegan, or like, oh, I'm fasting, or oh, I'm doing this. Like, you just keep that shit to yourself, dude. People are like, oh, I'm going to the gym. Like, dude, if you're going to the gym, people are gonna tell you, like, hey, dog, you've been going to the gym. They're gonna ask you. You don't gotta fucking tell everybody and shit,
And I think that's the problem with like social media. And every time I see a female on my page, it's always they're at the gym. They're at the gym. Even the dudes are at the, and I'm like, you don't have to say I'm at the gym. You don't have to. Most of the time they're at the gym, they're just taking pictures of their ass.
Yeah.
Do y'all even work out?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. You don't even have to say it. You're posting it online and shit like that. I have a lot of people that are like, well, I'm atheist or I'm something. Like, okay, well, good for you. Do you still want to go eat? Because I don't give a fuck about that. Let's go.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with you. Those people need to just shut the fuck up. It's like, hey, look, you don't eat meat. You don't eat that. Oh, you're a vegan? Okay, cool. Just stop trying to. They're just getting attention. They're trying to get attention. Yeah. That's all they're doing. And that's what sucks about this whole social media age, digital age, stuff like that. It's so accessible for them to do that, and it's like people are okay with it, and I'm like, nah, I don't like posting shit about myself either. I like to keep myself personal. I'm like, I don't want nobody I'm going to, unless it's a good food place or a good like record store or something like that. And I'm like, hey, go check this out, or hey, go here. This. Yeah. But I don't like posting like me going to the gym or me doing whatever, because that's my personal business. If someone's gonna notice I'm going to the gym, like you said, they're gonna be like, hey man, you've been working out, you've been doing.
They'll tell you. There's no need to fucking tell.
I had my cousin, he was like, have you been working out? And I'm like, no. I thought you've been working out. And I'm like, nah, dude, I'm just a little bit chubbier now. He's like, okay, whatever.
Probably need to borrow some money, maybe.
No, I think he was drunk at that time, so maybe not. Well, I have another unpopular. What was I going to say? Oh, I don't like Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, me neither.
I think he's trash. I think he's garbage. And someone was like, why? He's the boss. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't know. I don't like any of his music. And I feel like he's a pretentious dick.
Yeah.
He tries to be a working class American blue collar, this and that. And I'm like, bitch, you haven't done any of that shit.
No.
And it's like, what else do I have?
That's kind of like the whole like I like Johnny Cash, but that's kind of like the whole Johnny Cash thing where like he sings about being in jail and stuff like that, but he's never been in jail. He's played in jail, but he's never been in jail.
Yeah. And I like Johnny Cash is straight awesome, dude. Music is amazing, and he's like I said, straight for truth. And you know, like I say, he's never been to jail, but he went that one time. But he talked about it in one of his albums. He's like, I haven't done hard time, but I did go to jail for holding or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, you know, somewhat.
Yeah.
You know, I think U2 is trash.
Oh yeah. I don't like them either. Yeah, they're like whatever. They're fucking. They're overrated, dude. Yeah, they are, dude. And there's some dude that makes fun of him. He's a comedian. He's a British comedian. He's like, hey, all U2 is it's all delay. And so he's playing a riff, right? And it sounds fucking bad with all this fucking delay, right? And all of a sudden he's like, what would happen if the delay pedal stopped working? And all of a sudden the delay pedal stops working and just like ding, ding, ding. He plays some funny shit, you know?
Yeah.
Without the delay, because the delay is what makes it sound so cool, you know?
Yeah. I had a guy I played with in the group. His three main influences were Santana, Bon Jovi, and U2. And I'm like, and all his music was inspired by like U2 and Bon Jovi. And I'm like, fuck it, I'll play it, whatever. I like playing music. So, but I would like tease him about that. And I'm like, fuck U2, fuck Bon Jovi. Nobody fucking gives a shit about the hair bands, you know? I'm like, Bon Jovi's dad did his fucking hair. What a pussy. But yeah, those are some of my unpopular opinions. Let's do one more and then we'll go to what are we listening to? So do you have another one you got?
Yeah, you know what? I can't think of the fucking name of the band. What are they called? It wasn't the Killers, but it was one of those bands that I saw them. They opened up for Morrissey. I can't think of the name, man.
Strokes.
No, they sound just they sound like they sound like the Killers.
Okay.
Can't think of the fucking name, but dude, they sucked, man. And I was right there in the front row, dude, watching them, and they fucking sucked, dude. Can't think of the fucking name. What's the name of that band, dude? They have like some red letters in the back. It wasn't She Runs Revenge or nothing like that, but they sound just like the Killers. I just can't think of the fucking name, dude.
Man, there's a lot of groups that sound like the Killers.
Yeah, it was like a three-piece.
Three-piece.
Yeah.
Muse.
No,
that wasn't Muse.
No.
I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I don't remember, dude.
But they sucked. That's what you did.
They sucked, and everyone was like going crazy over them. Even like the Morrissey fans were going crazy. And I recorded them. They're just like right in front of me, dude. And I recorded them like, meh, you know, MEH. You know, they're like whatever. But dude, they're a big fucking band, man. And I'm
trying to think.
I just can't fucking think of the fucking. I just can't think of the name of the band.
It'll come around to you.
Yeah, but they fucking sucked. And people would have been like, "Fuck, you're lucky you fucking saw them live." You know, they're like, whatever, dude. I drove all the way to San Diego. It was like 2 hours away. We're like in the front. My kids got to see Morrissey too, like up front. It was real cool.
Yeah, I know you talked about your concert experiences. Like you went to see The Cure, and that was like very emotional for you. And then you got to see Morrissey and stuff like that. And then you talked about doing the whole karaoke. That was it, Morrissey-oke or was it?
Yeah, Morrissey-oke. Yeah, it's really cool.
So is that like something that's taking over LA? I guess in a way.
You know, it's every Thursday. It hasn't happened because of the stupid quarantine or COVID. But prior to that, it's like a long rectangular bar. It's pretty narrow. And maybe about 100 people fit in there, maybe less. And you go up, you put your name on the list, and then you pick whatever song you're gonna sing, and you go up there and you sing. And it's a big Morrissey sing along and Smith sing along. Everyone just sings the songs. There's nobody can make fun of you. They make fun of you, they kick them out.
Really?
But it's really, really cool, man. Like nobody talks shit. Well, when I went up there, the some fat chicks were trying to fucking talk shit because when I went up there, it was my birthday, and there's a Morrissey DVD where it's his birthday as well, and he's like, I can't believe I'm 29. Where do the years go? No, where did the time go? Where do the years go? So I said the same thing, right? If you're a Morrissey fan, you're gonna know what I'm talking about, right? They're like, what the fuck? They're looking at me like, what the fuck, right? And I'm like, you know what? If you're a fucking real Morrissey fan, you would know what the fuck I'm talking about. You know what the fuck I'm talking about? Shut the fuck up, right?
Yeah.
And the song started, and I picked a slow song. It's my favorite Morrissey song. It's Seasick Yet Still Docked. It's a really, really slow song, right? So a lot of people see there in the whole Morrissey scene, like there's a lot of hardcore fans and there's like wannabe fans where they won't even know that song, you know? So a lot of the wannabe fans were like, whatever, but a lot of people that are real fans that were singing the song too, they were singing along. you would have to sing like a song like Sway Head, which is Why Do You Come Here? You know, it makes things hard for me. Everyone's gonna know that fucking song because it's popular. But if you sing something like that, unless you're a real fan, you're gonna know. Yeah, that's a good fucking song, you know.
Is I saw this like it's a little mini documentary of the he's like a Hispanic, the Mexican Morrissey or something like that. Is he from LA
Oh,
or is
okay.
he from
Yeah. He's from LA. He's there. He always sings there. He's a little paisa dude, and he fucking has the hair kind of similar and shit. And he sings that song "Sway Head," but he sings it in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
And so whenever he goes on, a lot of people don't like it. They're like, "Oh fuck, he's gonna sing that fucking song again." Because when he goes on, that's his shit, you know. And when I went there, I don't know how many times I went. I've been there twice. I went there one time with my wife, and the next year I went. My brother went too. But the first time I had a fucking table, and I was sitting there, and he's about 50 years old, and everyone there is like late 30s, early 40s, and there's some chicks that were there, like older ladies too. And he was like trying to pick up on all the chicks, like, hey, what's up? I'm the Mexican Marcy. He's like trying to pick up on them and shit, you know. And one of the chicks was like really into him, and her friend's like, no, what the fuck are you doing? Like, like when you're telling your drunk friend, like, hey, snap out of it, you're fucking
Yeah,
drunk, like that. Me and my wife were just laughing and shit. But that's what he does. That's his song. He'll do Suede Head in Spanish. He'll sing it completely in Spanish, dude.
that's funny. I didn't at first. My friend, she would play a lot of like the Smiths and stuff like that, and I didn't really get into it. I
Yeah.
was like whatever, because I used to work at a coffee shop, so they would just play like kind of like alternative stuff. I didn't get into it, but after a while, when I started getting into indie music and stuff like that, I was like, I'm gonna give the Smiths a chance, and I was like, where the fuck have I been? Why am I been such an asshole and not like the Smiths? And I'm like, fuck, the Smiths are fucking badass. Morrissey, he actually was supposed to come to Houston. There's this music venue that's maybe about like a couple miles away from here. It's called the White Oak Music Hall, and he was supposed to play there, but he had canceled a couple times. So a lot of people are like, "What the fuck? Why are we gonna go see more if he's gonna cancel?" On us.
Yeah.
But my friend, she loves Morrissey, and I was like, "Oh, it's like $40 to go check him out."
That's
Never
cheap,
did.
dude.
Yeah, it's really cheap, and once you buy them cheaper, like when they first come out, then
when you first come out, yeah.
But yeah, I like the Smiths. Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now is like
That's my favorite Smith
I love
song.
that. I love
Yeah,
it.
that's my favorite Smith song, dude. Yeah.
I think it's with what's his name? Johnny Marr. With
Johnny Marr on the guitar, yeah.
It's so there's something about it. It's so mesmerizing, and it's like it's amazing the way his chords, and the effects that he uses. And I'm like,
have you tried playing that song?
I've tried a little bit, but just on
I can play like the first parts, like the first bar chords.
Mm-hmm.
And then with a little bit of you got to use your Bigsby, right? But he uses chorus and like reverb and a little bit of delay to get that sound. But I've captured that sound because I've got a lot of effects pedals, and fuck, it's really fun, dude. Those chords that he uses are like jazz chords. Is like that's a badass song.
And what's the one? I know that song. It's on the tip of my tongue. But what's the one that everybody?
How Soon Is Now? How Soon Is Now?
It's another one. It's the it goes dun 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 dun.
This Charming Man.
Yeah, everyone fucking plays that one. And where we go to this club, they have like 80s night, and they would always play that. And I was like, "This is the Smiths." And I was like, "Oh shit, y'all going old school with this."
Yeah,
and it's a really good song too. That's really hard to play too. And I'm like,
yeah, it's really hard because he uses a capo like on the fourth or second. Mm-hmm. That's why. Like for Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now, it's capo on second.
Yeah.
And then Big Mouth Strikes Again, you put the capo on the fourth, and that's a fucking bad song too to play.
Yeah, that's a really good song. Yeah. But all right, since we've done unpopular opinions, let's go into the next segment, which is called What Are You Listening To? So pretty much it's self-explanatory. It's called What Are You Listening To? So since you are a guest, you go ahead. So Jose, what are you listening to?
I've been listening to right now there's a fucking really cool band I found. It's called Luz Futura, and I believe he's from Spain, and it's dark wave, kind of cold wave, but it's in Spanish, and it's fucking bad, dude. He's fucking bad. It's him and his friend, I believe. He like bedroom producing, which is really what dark wave is. Like you make your music in your bedroom, and you don't need a drummer. You program the drums and all that. So I've really been listening to that right now. Luz Futura. I also listen to like well, the Smiths every once in a while, but a lot of the dark wave too, like Cold Cave, Drab Majesty, um what else? The Agnes Circle, always good bands. Uh the Victoriana, they're really good too.
Hmm.
Cellophane is good. I also like Lebanon Hanover. Always cool bands, you know. That's what I listen to when I'm listening to podcasts. I'll listen to that, you know. And I listen to psychobilly too, but there haven't been too many bands coming out with new shit. But yeah, I like psychobilly. That's my main thing. But right now it's just dark wave because that's what's consistent and keeps coming out, you know.
Hmm. Have you like picked up on anything that's kind of like outside of the box for you? Like I know like you have like dark wave and stuff like that. Is there
Yeah.
something that you like that's kind of like not in your rotation, I guess? Kind of
Hmm.
like a country or hip hop
Yeah. Let me
or
see.
R&B or something like that.
No, no, not really, because I don't have any friends. Sounds sad, but I don't. Or even friends that are into music, you know. So
Mhm.
no, no, I don't. I'm mainly the one who's telling people, hey, listen to this, listen to that, you know. So
Okay.
no, no. Oh, actually, you know what? Which is kind of dumb. I hate when people do this shit, but when an artist dies, that's when you fucking listen to it. But I could listen to MF Doom a long ass time ago, but I never listened to it, and that's just right up my alley because it's
Hmm.
real hip hop, you know. And then the beats he makes were like really different. But once he died, I'm like, fuck, let me check it out. Which is I hate myself for doing that because I'm not like that, you know.
Yeah.
But fuck, it really was good, and I wish I would have discovered it earlier. But I was listening to that. Fuck, it's fucking really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That made me sad too. What happened when he passed away? And it's funny because I have a lot of coworkers who are in their like mid to late 40s, maybe early 50s, and I was talking about MF Doom, and they're like, "What do you know about MF Doom?" I'm like, "Bro, my uncle, he turned me on to a lot of music. He's very like alternative, but he turned me on to like the Beastie Boys, the Beatles, um, Afghan Wigs, and all these other bands and stuff like that. But like a lot of stuff, he like old school underground hip hop.
Yeah,
So
hip
he
hop.
told me about MF Doom. So I always knew about MF Doom, and I did listen to a little bit of him. But you know, like you said, when the artist dies, everybody wants to hop on their dick and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah,
It's funny because I've listened to Prince like since I was a kid. You know, my parents,
yeah.
like I said, they're kids of the '80s and stuff like that. I downloaded Prince. I think like maybe a couple weeks before he passed away. There was just something I was like, I don't have a lot of Prince music in my phone, so I was like, I downloaded like a bunch of like songs that I knew, and oh, it says your internet connection is unstable. Okay, don't worry about it. But yeah, I downloaded like a shit ton of like Prince music, and then he dies like a couple weeks later, and I'm like,
Oh
well,
shit.
good thing I didn't jump on the bandwagon like
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
else did. But yeah, I can never understand like people like now with Daft Punk. You know, Daft
yeah.
Punk didn't die, but they just disbanded and
Oh yeah,
their
they blew
music
up.
went up like 300%.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And it's like,
yeah. Or
great.
even like Bowie did when David Bowie. Like, all of a sudden, everyone's a Bowie fan now. They
Yeah.
had the tattoos and shit.
My little brother, he's a big David Bowie fan, and it
Yeah,
really bummed him out. And I was like, it's okay, man. It happens. And it sucks because the same thing that David Bowie died of, our grandfather died of too.
oh
So
shit.
it was like, fuck, we can't win. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
my brother loves David Bowie. He's got like the little pin. He does little art and stuff like that. They listen to David Bowie. I like David Bowie too, but I like more
mhm,
of like the uh, mid 70s, early 80s kind of sound of David Bowie.
mhm.
So it's all like the funky, like
Yeah,
poppy stuff that he did and all that. So I like David Bowie too, but he
yeah,
loves David Bowie. So
yeah,
um so that's what you've been pretty much listening to, just same stuff
yeah,
you always listening to.
yeah. Just that.
But just hey, that's nothing wrong with that. I mean, because even if you stay within that circle, you still find other bands.
Yeah, from there I find other ones because I have iTunes. I subscribe to it. I pay like $15 a month, and I have like my whole family's on there, you know. And
Yeah.
sometimes when you're listening to it, it'll recommend you like other. Because I've never been into Pandora or Spotify. Because Spotify, like if you don't pay for it, it'll recommend like it'll just start playing whatever the fuck they want to play, you know. But with this, since you're paying, you can listen to the whole CD, and then it'll say, hey, if you like this, you might like this, you know.
Yeah. I have Spotify actually, and I don't use it as much. I do use it like for certain things. I'll save albums, but for me, uh, I've been listening to a lot of Pandora because Pandora, it's randomly switches and stuff like that. So the channels I've been listening to a lot lately have been a lot of like cumbia and like Tejano music because Tejano is just it's Texas, so
Yeah.
I grew up with that music. My parents love it, so I've been listening to like a lot of my roots music and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I do like a couple bands I've been listening to. La Santa Cecilia, they're from LA, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, I heard them before. Yeah.
I love their music. It's very like I guess traditional, but like in a modern twist.
Yeah.
I wanted to see them, but I never get to. But her voice, the lead singer, oh, it's so beautiful. I cry and I'm like, oh my God, it's so good. Another guy I've been listening to from LA, his name is Cuco. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah, I heard him before. Yeah.
A lot of people say I look like him. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I listen to him. I like some of his stuff. It's kind of like old school oldies, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
What else have I been listening to? A lot of future funk vaporwave stuff. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah, vaporwave is like dark wave. It's like 80s music.
Yeah, so I've been listening to a lot of that. A lot of Juanes. I like Juanes.
Oh, okay.
I like he's good. Of course, pop punk. I like Ariel Pink.
Yeah. Yeah, Juanes. He did a CD with what's her name? The fuck is her name, dude? She's from Chile, I think, but she lives in Mexico. I think her last name is Lafarte or something like that.
Nelly Furtado?
No, not her.
Like her?
I can't think of her name, dude. But he did a CD with her. Her music was really good before, and then with him it kind of changed, because he's like more poppy, more mainstream.
Yeah.
But Morrissey, before you watch Morrissey, he plays a bunch of videos of shit that he likes, right? Oh, her name is Mon Laferte. Mon Laferte. You should check her out. She's really, really good. Like the first 2 CDs are good. Well, he has a video of her performing live. Like before you see him, he has videos. Like, yeah, he has the Ramones, he has the New York Dolls playing, and he has her on there. And she was really good. But then once she got, hooked up with this dude making music, it kind of changed. But that's always how it happens. The first couple CDs are good, and then they change,
Yeah. I was talking to a couple of people, and they're like, yeah, I like Juanes too. I was like, I said something that they didn't know about. I was like, Juanes was in a metal band. Juanes used to put like metal music. And I was like, it would be so fucking cool if Juanes just like ditched the whole fucking Latin pop and just like, fuck it, let's go make some metal again.
Yeah.
He actually did a cover of, I think it was Metallica, even though Metallica is kind of watered down now. He did Metallica. And I was like, oh shit, it is true that he played fucking metal music. I think he did a band in Colombia. I forgot what it's called, but I think they have an album out. I need to go check it out. But supposedly he was really good.
Yeah.
But he kind of just, I guess, turned the tide and went to Latin pop,
where the money's at, dude.
Yeah, but he's really good. He's really good music,
Yeah. Well, speaking of Colombia, have you heard of Bomba Stereo?
Bomba Stereo.
They're good, man. They're good. Some of the music kind of sounds like reggaeton, but it's not reggaeton. It's because it's really like really folky Colombian. It's a lot of it's folky Colombian cumbia music, but it's got a little bit of hip hop and rap in it. So they're pretty good. Bomba Stereo. The first 2 CDs are good. The second ones I like the best, but they're really good. I've seen them a couple times. One time I saw them for like $5.
Really?
But now they kind of blew up. I took my whole family. They liked it, but they're really good. Bomba Stereo.
That's cool. Yeah, you got to put that in the playlist so I can check that out.
I'll put it on there. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking, unpopular opinion would be Metallica, dude. I think they suck, dude. I've never liked them. The only CD that I thought was okay was maybe that black one, but besides that, dude, they suck, man.
I think after the Black Album, they kind of declined.
When they cut their hair off and stuff.
Because that's what I started with metal. When in high school, I got really into Metallica. I was listening to Kill 'Em All. I was listening to
Master of Puppets
and the other one. And I was just like, fuck yeah. I think I scared a teacher of mine.
Yeah.
We were supposed to do like this project and we could pick any subject we wanted, but we'd have to like tell the story or whatever. So I did one on Metallica. And she was a black gym teacher. So when I would like name all the songs like Kill 'Em All and Four Horsemen, she had like this look like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I was like, that's what I was just into. And I made a lot of friends that way because they liked that music too. they had their hair long and this and that. I mean, I have my hair long too, but
Yeah.
at the time I didn't. But they were just like, yeah, fuck yeah, Metallica. And we would jam out during lunch. I would bring my guitar to school.
Oh shit.
And we would just jam out. The one guy had a bass, and we would just jam out. It's funny because before I went to the school I went to, nobody used to do that. Everybody would bring like their instruments because they were in band, but nobody really brought a guitar. So I would bring my guitar because I liked music, so I was bored. So I would just fiddle around with it after school. And then a lot of people were like, "Hey man, I know you play guitar, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "That's fucking cool." So they would invite me to hang out at like a table, and they were like, "Play something for us," like like I'm a fucking monkey or something.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, "Fuck it." So I played, and they were like, "Oh my god, you're so good." So then I started. I know I started this trend. More people started like bringing their instruments and guitars and bass and stuff like that, to where they started their own club.
Oh shit.
And I was like, thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to do that. I used to just jam out with a bunch of people at lunch before class, and I would just, it was fun. I would bring my guitar amp or just my acoustic and just jam out with people. That's how I met a lot of my friends.
Yeah.
They're musically. So, but yeah, that's how I started with Metallica. But Metallica has been watered down for like a good while.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we have done our 2 segments of the show. Now, this is the time where you as the guest can shout out anybody you want, say whatever you want. So go ahead, Jose, and do what you got to do.
Well, instead of shout out to my wife, Liz, and my kids, Noah, Cherry, for supporting me in what I do, and my brother, that's pretty much it. And anybody who listens to my podcast and shares it, and your listeners, if they like it, check it out. I'm on Ranting with Ramos Podcast on Instagram, and I also have my personal one, which is Deathblow1, which is DETHBLOW1 on Instagram, and then my SoundCloud is also Deathblow. So they want to check it out. And also, I started a Patreon. I haven't even announced that on my podcast, but I'm gonna, because since I got defunded, I started a Patreon. It starts at $3, and then it goes to $10, and then $25. But the thing with me is I make my own merch, so it comes with merch. Like, let's say if you buy the $3 one, you get a sticker and a t-shirt, and then the $10 one, I'm going to release like hoodies. And then if you get the $25 one, you get every single piece of merch that I make. So I do the social myself, me and my son. So I do all that. So, everything has a hand, like I have a hand in it, whether it's like producing the podcast, recording it, writing it, and the merch, I'm out there doing everything. So, look out for that if you guys want to support the Patreon. If you like what you hear,
and where can they find your podcast once again?
My podcast, you can find it on iTunes, Spotify, Google. Where else? It's on iHeartRadio. It's on all the platforms. Mainly what I tell people is just Google it. Google Ranting with Ramos Podcast, and it'll show you all the links to where it's available.
And you're doing it on YouTube as well, right? I know you have
on YouTube. Yeah, I just started a couple of YouTube. Yeah, like what I'm recording is I'll just make a video. Of course, it's just my picture, but it shows. You can play it. Like if you feel more comfortable listening to it on YouTube, you can hear it on YouTube as well. I've got about 4 episodes on there right now.
I started doing that too, and I noticed a lot of my listens have declined because I guess a lot of people are watching my videos more. And that's the whole future with podcasts is more visual instead of audio. So I'm like, okay, I guess people don't want to listen to it, but they watch me. That's fine, Yeah. But this will be up. Our video will be up probably Sunday because I do have to work tomorrow. So the audio will be up tomorrow, but the visual will be up Sunday. But yeah, Jose, I appreciate you being on the podcast, dude. It's really awesome to meet you finally, and like I said, I think we had a great episode. It was fun, like talking to you and just getting to pick your brain and getting to know you more personally. I like doing that. That's what the whole thing with my podcast. I like talking to people that other people would just kind of like, whatever, and just pick their brain. Like I've had this girl named Grizzy. She calls herself the Hood News. And what she does is that she reports all the stuff that's in the hood that other people won't pick up on. Oh, wow. And she has blown up a lot, but she reports the stuff that needs to be reported. Like she reported a couple of months ago, this lady got evicted from her apartment, but they had given her 30-day notice, and she was already going to follow up and she was going to do all that. Well, they kicked her out before the 30 days.
Wow.
So she contacted Grizzy, and Grizzy, reported it, did a video on it, and helped out that lady. And cool. she does that with the whole community. She lives in a certain area where it's crime infested and stuff like that. But she goes out there and she reports. She goes live on Instagram or live on Facebook, and she reports the hood news. And people have helped her out and stuff like that. And she's got a lot of recognition. And I've had her on the show, and she's helped me out a lot too. She blew up my podcast. She blew up my followers too. On Facebook, I only had like maybe 70 followers. She got me like 100 like that.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Man.
So with her, I appreciate, I've had all these people that people won't go and you're like, hey, what are you up to? What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing, man. Thank you for that too. Cause I mean, here in California, there's like there's a lot of podcasters that I know, that I met personally, that there's kind of like a little, group that they don't really call a group, but yeah, it's a lot of people. And they know me, and they know my podcast is about. They know that it's good. They know, what it sounds like and all that shit, because I put a bunch of sounds into it, the production. But even though they know me, they're afraid to have me on theirs, So, thanks for being brave and having me on yours, because I know, it's not a popular opinion, like the way I think, but you agree with it, or even if you don't agree with it, even if you didn't agree with it, it's good to have different people on there, so people can have different points of view.
That's what I always say. It's always cool to have somebody who's opposite of you, so then you both can get your point of view, his point of view, and they can get yours. And like I said, I agree with you a lot of things. And I, like you said, it might not be it might be unpopular to have somebody who has that same state of mind. My girlfriend was like, you might get canceled. And I was like, who the fuck is going to cancel me? I ain't shit. I'm a small podcast.
Yeah.
But hey, there's a lot of people that are going to agree with us. There's a lot of people that are going to agree with you. I mean, it's clearly you've blown up so big. A lot of people agree with what you say. Yeah. So you're doing something right. And I'm like,
you know what?
Hey,
like this last month is crazy, man. Like, I just been just like 10 followers a day, man. Just like out of nowhere, And usually I usually follow, whoever follows me, I follow them back. I give them a follow back. I give them that courtesy, A lot of podcasters don't. They'll have like thousands of followers, and they'll just follow like 1,000 or 200 or whatever. I try to be, follow people back,
Yeah, because it's a community, and we all have to kind of stick together. I do that with a lot of podcasters. They'll follow me, and I'll follow them back.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Hey, thanks for the follow." I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I support you. You support me. Follow me. I'll follow you. Podcast, whatever, stuff like that." So, like I said, I like doing that, and I want to venture out to not people just here in Houston, not people just here in Texas, but in LA, in New York, in Seattle, or something like that. If I can find somebody who's willing to be on the show, I'll have them. And I have this whole idea of what I want to do for this season and for next season. So I'm gonna try to see if I can hook up with more podcasters and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Well, like I said, Jose, I really appreciate you being on the show. Thank you again. It's been a blast. Just picking your brain, like I said, talking to you, getting to know you personally, even though we are several states away and we can talk and have a great conversation and just and like I said, vibe with each other.
Yeah. For lack of a better word.
Lack of a better word. But yeah, like I said, guys, this has been the episode with Jose of Ranting with Ramos. Thank you again for listening. If you guys haven't checked out Jose's podcast, please go check out the podcast. You can check out this episode that comes out Saturday, which is tomorrow. You can check out the visual that comes out on Sunday. Again, as I always close, God bless you all. Peace. God bless you, Jose. And we'll probably talk again later on.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. And we're all good to go.